So wait a minute. February 9th, Howie Roseman wins the Super Bowl. Then his alma mater turns around and wins the national title last night against Houston. This is the Howie Roseman season. Holy cow. I mean, good night, man. Everything this guy touches, except his defense, has turned to gold. Unbelievable, man. Last night, I saw another gag, 2 gag performances, one by Duke, and then at the end of the game last night by Houston. I thought Houston had it, the first national title. I heard John McMullen say something, and I cannot believe I've got to give kudos to the Florida Gators, but they're the first program to have 3 national titles in football and in hoop. I'm telling you something about those Bull Gators. Xander knows this as well as anybody. Those Bull Gators, they're big-time people that sponsor the program and are donators to the program, are some of the richest people on the planet. John Morgan's one of them. By the way, today, Bruce Arians, he will join us at 5:30. The former Super Bowl champion and senior executive of the Buccaneers. He will join us. That'll be at 5:30. Xander in his normal spot will be with us at 3:30. Please hit the like button. Hey, Sue, yeah, Frank Reich. I thought it was really incredible news. And I talked to Frank last night, just so you guys know. You want to hear something? He asked me to take a look at some of the players on the team of Stanford Cardinal football last night. You know what I spent my hours doing last night? Watching some of the defensive tackles and defensive line and front seven of the Stanford Cardinal football team. He asked me what I thought of them. Look, I think Stanford's going to be well coached. But I just thought that was kudos, to my friend going, I'd like to get your opinion on what you think of these players. And I looked at them and I watched them. And again, I think they're going to run a complex defense. But just to go back to the interview yesterday, you could tell the friendship that Frank and I have had for over 40 years. And he gave me some good insight into what Nick Sirianni was doing. Nick wanted him on that coaching staff. And I believe next year, Frank Reich will be a part of the coaching staff for the Philadelphia Eagles. I don't know in what capacity. I have no idea. By the way, please hit the like button. Supers go to the top. You guys have been great. 16 days until the National Football League's draft, which means now teams are starting to formulate their board. Here's what you got going on right now with a guy who's got the 32nd pick in Howie Roseman. This guy's probably got 5 boards in front of him now with projections on what teams are going. What you're doing right now, if you're picking at 32, you're guessing what other teams' needs are and where they'll go in the draft. That's the only way you can kind of funnel down to what players you think are going to be available at that number 32 spot, or that you're going to potentially trade up. I think he's got a trade up board. The question would be how high. And I think he's also got a trade out board. I think he's got a couple more of them with projections on what they think certain teams would do. If my bet would be, from what I've been told, most of the general managers, they don't do the entire 32 teams. They do teams in their division. Who will the Cowboys draft? Who will the Giants draft? Who will the Commanders draft? All teams in front of them. Then you go down NFC, then you go AFC, and you most notably go AFC teams you're going to play in the next 3 years. That's kind of how you draft, especially when you're that low in the draft. Once again, I think it's more difficult to pick at 32 than it is to pick at 1, because you're really kind of a slave to what happens in front of you. You don't know what's going to fall to you. I think there's going to be at least potentially 4 quarterbacks taken in round 1. I think Jalen Milroe just got invited to go to Green Bay for the draft. And for the opening night of the draft, he's going to Lambeau. So I'm guessing he is going to be a first rounder. Jackson Dart, I could see the Saints moving up to get him. Shedeur Sanders and Cam Ward. It would not shock me if 4 quarterbacks went in the first round. I mean, it's such a coveted position and a needed position. I mean, look at the free agent quarterbacks. We're talking about Sam Darnold, and we're talking about people like Geno Smith who were traded. I mean, we're not talking, and we're Trey Lance. You got Aaron Rodgers, who was probably Russell Wilson. Look at what we're talking about here. You know what these players are today on April 8th. Okay? We know what they are. Okay? I mean, so I think there's going to be as many as 4 quarterbacks taken. By the way, I got a new name for the Philadelphia Eagle defense, and I am going to call it the Blowtorch defense. That's the new nickname that I have that I'm going to give the new Eagle defense. The Blowtorch defense. I mean, unbelievable. February 9th, the number 1 defense, and now they're the Blowtorch defense. How you doing? Oh, all right. I'm going to take a look at some of the defensive tackles, and I'm going to give you my look at them. And I did a full synopsis on them. And so we'll look at some of the guys, and we're going to go detailed into these guys. How about the crash of 29? How about the crash of 25? I like that. Give me another one, Kyle. Let's come up with a new name, a new nickname. Xander had the no-holes defense. Well, that's gone. So let's go like this, the no-money defense. Okay, let's go here. Blowtorch defense. I need a new name. The gap defense. Yeah. The no name. Cast iron defense. Holy shit, you mean the toothpick defense. Give me a break. Give me another nickname here. Let's see here. The no idea defense. I love that. Oh my God, Samuel. Here's a new name for the Philadelphia Eagle defense. The Dollar General defense. With every ucha. The Lost Souls defense. Holy cow here. The dollar store. We got our core back. Yeah, you got we lost players, but we have the same core. You freaking core. Yeah, the same core. You lost 2 guys in your front 4 and 2 in your secondary. We got our core back. Who's replacing Slay? By the way, real quick here on that one. Here, before I get into the defensive tackles, let's do this Vic Fangio. Let's go with Forrest. Dude, they're looking at corners. Here, let me write the names down. I got them here. I don't believe they think they got the corner to take Slay's spot. I don't believe it. Who do they have here? Keely Ringo, Adoree Jackson, and Eli Ricks. That's not going to cut it. Those guys right there are not going to be a guy who's going to replace Darius Slay. Not happening. Ever. Jackson, maybe. Yeah. Okay. Once again, I can't dismiss maybe because of the stupidity of the Giants. Okay? So I can't go that deep off with your take because the Giants are awful. Okay? They'll be fine. There he is once again, starting the day off with, as usual, a shit take. My boy M. Reyes. Here we go here. We did it once before. We did, Sills. We didn't lose a ton of players. Sweat, Rogers, Milton, Slay, Becton, Burks, Lovato. Okay? Here we go. Here's Senorita with the low-hanging fruit take. Sills said last year to trade Slay. Yeah. Absolutely. Trade him while he still had value. Instead, you let him walk out the building for nothing. And he signed a $10 million contract with the Pittsburgh Steelers. You didn't get rid of Slay because Slay was done. You got rid of Slay over money. How you doing? Okay? Nobody said Slay was bad. He was breaking down. Nobody said that. Nobody here or anywhere in Philly said he couldn't play. He was breaking. By the way, Senorita, they're not getting rid of Dallas Goedert because he sucks. They're getting rid of Dallas Goedert because he's hurt and he costs too much. That's why you got rid of Darius Slay. Darius Slay's not an Eagle because of money and because he got hurt and he was out of the lineup too much. Not because he sucked. Horrific take by Senorita. Horrific, as usual. There you go. M. Reyes and Senorita starting the day off as usual with L's. There you go. Just going to talk about Ringo this year like he was about Dean and Bond. By the way, hang on here. I didn't know anything about Bond. Dean, I have not changed my opinion on him. He's not someone to build the future around. Paper mache Nakobe Dean? No, thank you. You can keep him. I'm not building my defensive linebacking core around that guy. Again, what about, like I said, he was the Carson Wentz of your defense a year ago. Had a nice season, got into the playoffs, really didn't matter. Yeah. Okay, Senorita Sills will change his tune in the Eagle defense. It's once again dominant. How poetic. How poetic. The Timo signings, he didn't know yet. Oh, okay, Forrest, you're right. You're going to do it again because that's normal. You can't name a story like Zach Bond in 110 years of NFL football. How you doing? Sills was wrong all last year until the Super Bowl. I'll say this to you, RC. I won't be wrong this year. I will not be wrong this year. Not happening. I will not be wrong. Okay? We're the Eagles. Really? Yeah. There you go, James. James, the Commanders. John McMullen and Dan Sileo right here on JAKIB Sports predicted Commanders will win the NFC East. How you doing? Yeah. You said that last season. I know, Susan. I know, honey. Don't worry. I get you there. Vic Fangio's not sold on the players they got. How many corners are you going to bring in? You're going to bring more corners in? They don't believe in Keely Ringo and Dory Jackson. And the other guy, they don't believe in those guys. I think they're going to make a trade. Every player he said sucked. Now we have lost some of them. Now they're the best thing since sliced bread. No, I never said Josh Sweat sucked. I never said Milton Williams sucked. I never said Slay sucked. Made up. Fake news. How you doing? I'm going to call David the new Adam Schiff of JAKIB Sports. There he is. David Adam Schiff Cleary. How you doing? Yeah, okay. Made up. Phony news. Fake news. I never said that. That's not true. As a matter of fact, I liked Milton Williams 3 years ago, Junior. Steve, you and Angelo forever be the guy. I said 7 wins. No, I think I said 9 wins. I said 9 wins. Excuse me. Before the season started, I went from 7 to 9. How you doing, Steve? Again, Adam Schiff, Steve. I said Dickerson sucked. Not happening. Never said it. Let's see here. Look at these people making bullshit lies up. Reminds me last year, this time, Sills was talking the same shit. Dude, I don't believe in your replacements right now. You do? You believe in these replacements. Guys who have no reps. You believe in guys who have been thrown out of other places and given opportunities. You believe it. I don't. Get over yourselves. I don't believe it. Okay? I don't believe it. You believe, hey, this guy believes in Bryce Huff. By the way, I got news on that. We didn't believe in the replacements last year. Last year, you had experience in your replacements with Milton. Milton was the swing. Then he took over and became a starter. Yeah. As a matter of fact, the only person that hasn't gotten better on your defense is Jordan Davis. You just, dude, shut up. Let's see. I refuse to get over myself. Milton wasn't a replacement. He was homegrown. Dude, they made him a starter, did they not, a year ago? Did they not make him a starter? He was a replacement for a starter. Oy vey. Good night. You know, I actually got suspended on the air once for saying oy vey because people hated me so much. Oy vey. That's a true story. I was suspended for that. Oy vey. Flexing. Him saying he said nothing bad about Slay's false. That's not true. Crowley, once again, Adam Schiff. Adam Crowley Schiff. Hall of Fame bound. Yeah. No, Hall of Shame bound. There, you almost got it right. Yeah. He was a rotational player. That's funny. Hit the like button. You guys are awesome. All right. So should I give you my takes on the current defensive tackles that people are looking at? I did a breakdown and I was talking with Brian Boldinger. He and I went and did a breakdown. I'm not going to name the company. They're going to air it, and I can't name it yet, but I broke down some of the defensive tackles. I was asked to break down some of the defensive tackles that are going to be potentially at 32. And I'm going to give you my takes before they air. And I'll tell you Friday where that piece is going to air with Brian Boldinger. So Brian and I had a chance to talk about the D tackles, and he threw a bunch of the guys at me. Okay? And so I'll give you some of my takeaways. Just I got a feeling the Dolphins draft a safety at 13. In my opinion, Dolphins need to add O-linemen. If you're going to keep Tua, you need to keep adding O-linemen. Okay? Yes, that's a good T-shirt too right there. Yes, indeed. Absolutely. I agree. All right. So let me get to this here. And let's get to some of the guys here. All right. So you guys want me to start with Walter Nolan, the Ole Miss D tackle. You want me to start there? Because I could start there. Let me take the – hey, by the way, I do not believe Vic Fangio thinks he has the replacement for Darius Slay on that team. How many people think you have the replacement? And he's on the roster right now. Do you think you have the player that's going to take Darius Slay's position come September 8th? Do you think that player is on the team now? I don't. I think they're going to either make a trade or they're going to be a high. I heard Xander and John say there's no way at 32 they would take a corner. I don't know. If that kid from Michigan's down there, you wouldn't take him? You wouldn't take that kid? If that kid was down there at 32, that kid from Michigan, you wouldn't take him, the best corner in the draft? How fucking stupid. You would take the 7th edge instead of the best corner in the draft. Stop thinking stupid at 32. You're not picking first. I think you picked the best guy down there, not the 5th best guy. How dumb is that thinking? Hey, I'm going to pick the 5th best salesman for my company. 5th best in anything stinks. Okay? This guy believes, M. Reyes believes that Kelly Ringo and Adoree Jackson will be enough to fill Slay's slot. How much of an idiot can you possibly be? These guys aren't near Pro Bowl players. Dude, you could have 7 guys try to replace him. With the experience, never happened. This guy's 0 for 3 today. He's like Bryce Harper. Like Bryce Harper in the playoffs. He's 0 for 3. Keep it going, dog. Pretty soon you'll take the collar. Ringo had 100 snaps last year, but Ringo's ready. Even though, get this, Vic Fangio never went to him playing corner. He went to Isaiah Rodgers. Sure, Arthur, that sounds right. Wow. Another L. You guys are swinging and missing, man. Holy cow. Ringo hits and is so physical. How come he can't get on the field? Come on, hey, Arthur. Come on, give it a rest, man. Hey, give it a rest. Honest to God. Yeah, you guys are dumb as a rock. Steelers don't give players a chance. It didn't give Bond. Okay, yeah. Hey, by the way, neither did the freaking Saints. The guy goes, you didn't give Bond a chance. The Saints had him for 4 years. The Saints had that guy for 4 years and didn't know what they had. So you're suggesting that I would know what Bond was when the Saints had the guy for 4 years and didn't do shit with him. Oh, okay. Yeah, that sounds right. That I sitting here would know more than what Mickey Loomis and those guys who had the player in their building for 4 years. Yeah, that sounds normal. Bond proved a lot of fans wrong. He sure did. Most notably, he proved the Saints wrong because the organization had him. Maybe. That could be. I still shit on Dean. Not building my team around him. Mr. Paper Mache. The guy's made of balsa wood. Balsa wood Dean. I don't know. Between him and Goddard, I mean, I don't know who's more of a China doll. Okay? I don't know who's more of a China doll. Pick one, Goddard or Dean. These guys, you drop. Hey, if they fall on the ground, they break. Like a salt and pepper shake. Boom, gone. No good. All right. I'm going to start here with the defensive tackles. They are streetwalkers. Let me start it out here with Nolan. Here's Walter Nolan. Now, you got to remember, you got to start with production. He's 6'3", 290. I didn't remember that he started his career. And, of course, Dumbo Fisher recruited him at Texas A&M. And he was a 5-star kid when the kid was in high school. So here's something to think about. Okay, he'll be 22. He's a young player. So he'll be 22 in the season when it starts in October. This kid had 6.5 sacks and 14 TFLs. What does that tell me out of the gate? He's already 10 times more productive than any season that Jordan Davis ever had at Georgia. And he dominated the Southeastern Conference. He's a playmaking big man. 6'3", 290. That's great. Especially playing next to Jalen Carter. He'll take some of those double teams on. Okay? So, and he's young. This kid is productive. Get this. I mean, 2024, 10.5 sacks, 23 TFLs, and 25 games. When you look at it all, playing interior-wise, this kid was really good, man. Dominated. This kid, his bench press was great. When he did his pro day, he took on double teams well when he was at Ole Miss. Here's one thing that I told Clint Hurt. I think you got to coach him hard. I think you've got to coach this kid hard. And when you got a guy like Vic Fangio, okay, now there's one thing you got to look at with him. His first step's not the best. That's a concern for me. Like, he's a powerful guy. He moves well, but that first step bugs me. Watch him get out of a stance. He kind of lolls out of a stance. He's got to move his feet more. That's exactly what Jalen Carter does a little bit. He drags his feet. Feet have to move first before your body does. That's when you know you got a quick DT or a quick DE or a quick edge. I mean, I think this guy's going to fall because he doesn't seem overly quick. Walter Nolan. He's a good player, man. I mean, he gives good effort. Here's another issue that he has. He doesn't have a second pass rush move, which means this. He'll get into a guy, and if that first pass rush move gets shut down, which it will in the pros, this is what Jordan Mailata used to struggle with, was the second move. Most edge rushers in the NFL today have second and third moves off of one move. That's what makes some of those guys elite. Walter Nolan, if he beats people on the first move, he's going to do that in college because he's a dominant player. When you get to the NFL, this was something I struggled with. You can kill everybody you're playing against because you're big and you're strong. If you don't have a second and third move to get out of that or a spin, and when you're in tight quarters like that, your second and third moves have to be back to the inside. He likes to go to the outside. So there's question marks on his pass rush moves. He's not a great pass rusher. He's quick. He's strong. He's dominant. He's a good athlete. I'm just saying that first step, that's what I'm saying too, Emrayes. I think he's a little limited. I said the other day, you could play him in a 3 technique. I told Clint, no, you can't. He's not a 3 technique guy. He's not quick enough in his feet. So, I mean, the pass rush moves, could you develop them? You can. Good coaching can help you increase. You can coach that. But that first step bugs me. And he's limited when it comes to his second and third moves. And that's right, Crowley. That's why the kid's starting to fall. The more tape you watch on him, the more you're seeing some of the deficiencies that he's going to need. Like here, he's got a great college football toolbox. He really does. But he doesn't, I think, necessarily have a great set of tools for the NFL because he needs better pass rush moves. That's where Jordan Davis is limited. Jordan Davis doesn't have good pass rush moves. He's just not a good pass rusher. I think he just doesn't know what to do in there. He gets beat on his first move. That's why he's not. Hey, most of the time, do you guys remember a guy by the name of John Randall? John Randall gave you great effort. What was the one thing that he did? He gave you great effort, and his engine never stopped. He was constantly moving. Same thing with Aaron Donald. Great engine, never stopped moving. Walter Nolan will stop his feet. You stop your feet, you're dead. Jordan Davis stops his feet. He's dead. Okay? I mean, that's why those guys get blocked. He gives effort. He's a good player. So that's kind of a little bit of my takeaway with him. I mean, look, I think he is going to go, and he could go anywhere from 10 to 32. It just depends how you see him, and it just depends who's the D-line coach. Okay? He just doesn't have a lot of good pass rush moves. 25 hurries in 2024 is not a lot. You heard your quarterback in 14 games or 13 games, whatever they played, 25 times? Man, if you're a dominant player, you got to be doing more than that. You got to be up in the 30s, mid-30s, somewhere in there if you're a dominant player. So just a little bit on him. Look, he can't play and take the place of, dude, how about this? I'll make Moro Ajomo's a better option at the 5 technique than Walter Nolan is. Okay? He's a better option. All right. Shamar Stewart, Texas A&M. The kid's a big dude. 6'6", 290. He's 22 years old. He'll be 23 in November. 1.5 sacks, 6 tackles for losses in 24. This guy is non-productive. Okay? 8 tackles for losses in the last 25 games. Jeez. Had 1 forced fumble, has great size. He's explosive. He's got a great quick step. This guy, you could play him at the 7 to 5. Okay? He's versatile. But once again, here's a guy limited in pass rush. He doesn't have a lot of good pass rush moves. And I'll say it one more time to you. He's just not productive. But, I saw him. They put a highlight reel. It's not the actual game film. So I tuned on a game that he played. He's good against the run. He plays with his pads low. He's good. But he's just not a productive football player. By the way, guys, please hit that like button. I mean, these are all guys the Eagles could think about taking at 32 at D tackle. This is, just, again, my assessment. And actually, Clint Hurt asked me to put this together. And me and Baldy were talking to him and kind of what I said. So let me go to Kenneth Grant, the kid from Michigan. 6'3". Now, he's a bigger dude than Walter Nolan. Now, here's the thing. He's 21. This kid will be 22 in October. He is a young guy. I mean, he's a young kid. This kid's got a lot of growing to do still. So keep that in mind. The reason I keep bringing the age up, that means these kids haven't even hit the beginning of what their careers are going to look like. You're 21 years old right now. 3 sacks, 7 tackles for losses in 24. Man, that's just not productive. 13 TFLs in almost 30 games. Good grief. 0 forced fumbles. But I will say this, when you turn his film on, he is lightning quick for that size. 6'3.5", 330 pounds. He can freaking move. He has got, as bad as Lazy Smith is, this kid's footwork is better than I thought. I was down on him until I put his tape in. I'll tell you this, man. He's a fast kid, and he's got that rare first step that Walter Nolan doesn't have. Kenneth Grant has a better first step off the line of scrimmage, and I know that that's going to be something that's going to increase Vic Fangio's liking of this player more so than everything. This kid has an elite first step. When he gets around and he gets into you, he's already with that foot past or at least parallel to your hip. I'm talking to guard. He can move, man. He gets up into you. He's got Jalen Carter speed off the ball. He's quick. Might be the quickest DT in the draft. That first step is everything. Absolutely. It's just a really good, and I'll tell you what he likes to do. And I tell you what I love about what they did with him, Kenneth Grant, Michigan. They got him in the backfield creating so that if the guards were pulling, he would just wreak havoc back there, knock guards off. He was a one-man wrecking ball there for Michigan. He's better than I thought. Okay? Because the first thing you notice when you tune or turn on his tape, is his first step. Bam! Like shot out of a cannon. You're like, wow. And that's what I want. But let me say this to you. At the University of Miami, nobody was quicker off the football than me, including Jerome Brown. My first step was my best asset. Nobody was quicker. Stubbs, Hawkins, Cortez, Merrill, nobody. That is essential in being a good pass rusher, being a good run blitzer. You have to have that. Okay? Got to be cat-like quick. And I was known for that. And you have to have that. If that first step is everything. This is why Lazy Smith, okay, is not going to make it in the NFL. He doesn't have a very good first step. That Walter Nolan kid, it's not impressive. So that really kind of, I pause on it a little bit. Okay, I pause on that. That when you watch him and you're going back and forth and you're watching him get off the line of scrimmage, then you watch Kenneth Grant get off the line of scrimmage, it's night and day. Okay, it's just night and day. Gets in the backfield, he does a really nice job. He had 23 hurries a year ago. And by the way, I'll make a comparison. I think he's a little bit better than Javon Hargrave. He's somebody like a Javon Hargrave. Javon Hargrave had a great first step. Was okay against the run. Pittsburgh gave up. I found out why from Carl Dunbar, why the Steelers gave up on him. They just never really thought Javon Hargrave played the run good enough for them. In Pittsburgh, you got to play the run. That's got to be your forte. Mike Tomlin, you got to stop the run. He'd rather have you as a run stopper than a pass rush guy. He'll let his edges take care of the pass rush. Highsmith and Watt. But when it comes to his tackles, they got to stop the run. If you can't stop the run, it's over. No matter what you say here. So, I don't know, man. I'm more impressed with Kenneth Grant after putting some tape on with him than I have been in the past. Now, Deonte Walker, kid from Kentucky, another SEC guy, huge. A Jordan Davis type of guy. Okay, 6'6", 345. Now, he just turned 21. Another young kid who's got upside. But here, 1.5 sacks, 5 tackles for losses. Let me put this in perspective, okay? 1.5 sacks last year, just to show you guys. I played on the number 1 ranked college football defense for 2 years. My final season was my junior year. I had 100 tackles, 10 sacks, and I led the team in tackles for losses, and I led the team in fumble recoveries. And I led the defensive line, all those great players, and solo tackles with 55. I had 100 for the year. Got to be productive. 1.5 sack? Come on now. Is Shedeur going to have success? Which team? Saints? I'll get to Shedeur Sanders here, Leon, I promise. Let me write that down. Let me write that. I'll write that down. He is enormous. Okay. Here, let me put this in perspective here for you. When you got a guy that big, can you imagine a 6'6" guy sitting next to a 6'4" Jalen Carter who can move? Jordan Davis is underachieved. He's not maximized his ability in any way, shape, or form. This kid is big. Okay? Here's the one thing that you have to worry about that I watched with him. This kid Walker from Kentucky. I think they're weak pass rush moves. He has an arm over and an arm under. Come on, dog. Do a spin move. You're enormous in there. Show me a little more versatility. Show me some power moves. You're that big, act like it. Sometimes you get guys that are big like that will give you finesse pass rushes. When you're 6'6", 350 pounds, I don't want anything finesse out of you. Jalen Carter doesn't play with any finesse. It's sheer power. Pass rush moves, arm over, under, bull rush, spin moves, all of it. Run, stop, gap, blitzes. He runs with a tenacity. Everything he does is in power. And he creates space for himself. He's exceptional. He's just exceptional. Very rarely do you get a guy like Jalen Carter that creates his own space to be able to maneuver pass rushes with arm overs, unders, bull rushing, spins. He knows where to spin to and away from pressure. He spins to pressure to create double teams for himself to free up guys like Sweat and Milton Williams. He's a fucking savant in there. He's smart, he's fast, he's quick, and he plays with a tenacity. Hard to get that combination. That's a rare book on a kid. It's just rare to watch that shit. And when you see it on film, he separates himself. Like Walter Nolan has a slow first step. That's a problem for me. Kenneth Grant has an explosive first step. I can work with that. I don't think he falls. If that were me, I would draft Kenny Grant over Walter Nolan. Okay, because I just think, again, it depends on do you like really enormous guys? Do you like productive guys? You know what I love about the Rams? The Rams drafted undersized guys in verse. And years back, even with Aaron Donald, they cared about production versus productive. Fisk, the other kid they draft from FSU, he's got a slower first step, and he's productive, but he's not like Verse. Verse is quick, a tough cover when it comes to pass rushing and pass probing them. Those were great picks, and they all offsetted one another. You notice they drafted them back-to-back? They went with speed, finesse, to power, and bull rushing. It's a great way to draft. Rams got their shit together. They know what they're looking at. Hey, Seals, do you think part of the reason the draft seems weaker is because it's loaded with 24, 25-year-olds? Like the last couple? Yeah, because of the COVID shit and that 60-year stuff. Yes. Most of the good players went prior in the last two drafts. So let's get to this kid, TJ Sanders. Am I right, guys? When I say TJ Sanders, aren't they bringing him in, that kid? I thought I heard that the Eagles are bringing in this kid Sanders for a look. And that's somebody else that they're going to be taking a look at, right? I think I hear that Sanders is coming in for a visit. Well, here's my takeaway on Sanders. 6'4", 300 pounds, a little older. He's like 23 years old. That's in the start of training camp. Last year, 4 sacks for an interior tackle, not awful. 7 TFLs, 8.5 sacks in 17 games. And 17 TFLs in his last 25 games. That's not awful. That's pretty productive. By the way, I think South Carolina had some of the best defensive players in the country on their football team. They just needed a better offense. That kid and that defense that South Carolina has, they had guys at every level. Edge rushers, interior guys, defensive backs, linebackers. That Beamer guy's doing a fabulous job at recruiting defensive football players. It's a forte probably because it goes back to his father when his father was at Virginia Tech. This guy can recruit, and he can recruit defensive football players. Pretty good. Here's something that you got to like about the kid. This kid's a former hoop player, okay? I like that. I like guys that played multi-sports because that means they're versatile. And so this kid was a hoop player. and he played tight end and I think defensive end when he was in high school. He's got a good first step. It's not exceptional. He moves laterally well. And here's something that you're going to really like, especially with an interior defensive tackle. He's got long arms, which means he can engage. If you're going to go big, you like this kid. This kid's got long arms, and he doesn't do anything exceptional, but he's very good at everything. I like that, especially with a guy next to Carter. Here, I'll say it one more time. You got to upgrade on Jordan Davis. You need a nose. This guy can play the run, and he's big. He's a big football player, and if you're going to take Jordan Davis out of that role, you better replace him with somebody pretty big. Now, the previous kid that I talked about is the bigger guy, that Walker kid from Kentucky. That kind of makes more sense because he's 6'6", but I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, I look at him and his pass rush numbers, I think they're okay. By the way, he's got a pretty decent toolbox when it comes to pass rush moves. He's got a good arm over. He's got a good rip. He's got a good power move. Like I said, this kid does everything pretty well. Okay, I mean, he does everything pretty well. Just nothing really overly exceptional. So the kid TJ Sand, and he was coached well. He was in the SEC, which I love. So, I mean, take that for what it is. All right. Let's go to Derek Harmon. By the way, please hit the like button, guys. He's 6'4", 313. I actually like this kid. I do. I actually like this kid. 5 sacks. I think he had either 10 or 13 tackles for losses, 24. 6.5 sacks in the last 26 games. Okay, yeah, I don't know. I'll tell you what he does, boss, about this Derek Harmon kid. That first step, he beats you on his first move. The problem comes down again. What you do on his second move. Okay, if you stone him, does he have the toolbox to be able to go against guys like Landon Dickerson, where most of the time you're going to get stoned on that first move? He has got a great first step. He's got great hands. I think he's got a good toolbox on being able to go through the progressions of pass rushing. He's a good football player, and he was well coached. You can see on his film, he moves his feet well. He tatters. You could tell that he has a good bend in his hips. Now, here's a guy here. Last year, this guy had 50 hurries. I want to put that in perspective for you. Okay? He had 50 hurries. Walter Nolan had 25. Who's more productive? Okay? This guy got in the backfield and got to the quarterback. And 50 hurries. Walter Nolan had 23. I mean, slow first step. Okay? That tells you a little more. By the way, I'm not suggesting in any way that Walter Nolan's not a good player. I'm just telling you, if you put the game film on and you watch Kenny Grant and you watch him. Now look at Kenny Grant. Just to put it in perspective, Kenny Grant had 23 hurries. Okay? Now remember something too. Stewart had 33 hurries. How important are hurries? That means you're in the backfield making plays. And you're back there making moves, and you have a motor to me. I mean, Derek Harmon can move. Now, here's another guy. He is way better as a pass rusher than a run stopper. But I want him playing next to Jalen Carter if you're a less of a run stopper than Jordan Davis. No. I would sacrifice his pass rushing more so than the fact that I can't give up the run. The one thing Jordan Davis does well is defend the run. I'm not going to compromise this. Well, he kind of is good against the run, but he's a better pass rusher. That's not going to cut it. The number one thing that made the Eagles great, they created pressure from the front four, and they stopped the run. And they didn't really need to have an elite pass rusher. They had no elite pass rusher anywhere up and down the line of scrimmage. But one thing they were good at, they stopped the run, kept the game in front of them, and did everything. Okay, so the pass rushing, I'll live without that. I don't want you to suck at it, but I'll live without that. And I'm not sacrificing a lesser player at 32 just so I can get 3 more sacks. What's the end? What's the end means? You follow me? You want me to sign a better guy than Jordan Davis for 3 more sacks and a lesser run stopper? That makes no sense. I'll wait to the 3rd round to get the guy. I'm not doing that. For me to replace Jordan Davis and not pay that money, I want to get a guy who could give me 5 sacks and is better than Jordan Davis against the run. Or I've got to figure a way to keep that dude. I'm not surrendering that. That'd be like losing the 6th defensive starter. That's not working. That's a wasted pick. I'm not doing that. No way. Okay? By the way, I'm not trying to get rid of Jordan Davis. I'm trying to upgrade. Remember something, folks. Remember this about drafting a player down there. Okay? I'm looking to upgrade every position at any time. I don't care what position it is. Howie Roseman's looking to upgrade every single position that he has in his starting 22 and his back end 22, his backups. Once you're drafted, they're looking to replace you because of finances, production. Depending on what the organization it is, I'd probably say Philly, it's production, then money. Some places like Dallas, it's money, then production. That's why they cut loose the good players. Same thing in New York. It's money, not production. Philly, it's production, then money. They didn't want to get rid of Josh Sweat and Milton Williams. Who in their right mind would? They had to go for money. So money was second. They wanted to keep those players. Okay? That's right. This is a great take here. We're looking for a fucking Milton Williams, which is not hard. Get this. So RC3 thinks it's easy to find a starter in the 3rd round who just signed a contract for $26 million. I say that is impossible to find. It can't be that hard. Really? You think you're going to go into the draft, RC3, find a 3rd round draft choice, develop him, turn him into a $26 million a year player? You think that's commonplace? I don't. I think that's more difficult to find. Because look at Josh Sweat. You think it's easy to find a $20 million a year player in the 4th round? Like who? Those are impossible needles in the haystack to find. Get this. This is an out. When Senorita brings up Zach Bond, take him off the board. Those stories never happen. That is an outlier. It's not commonplace. That'll never happen in your lifetimes again. Ever. That you find a guy who's a first-team All-Pro who's been sitting on the farm for 5 years. Ever. Will you find that ever again? Ever. Because it's never happened before. That is an outlier. This guy makes it sound like it's commonplace. A lie. Never happens. Never happens. Saquon Barkley was the fucking 2nd player taken. Never happens. Let me get back here. So I like the kid Derek Harmon. Siobhan Jones, LSU. There's another kid who I like. Okay. Now, again, not all these guys are first-round draft picks. Okay. Just remember that. But I love these guys in the SEC. 6'5", 280. Not quite enormous. 4.5 sacks. This guy had 43 pressures a year ago. And that was the 8th best in the Southeastern Conference. This kid is a kind of like a guy you might get in the 2nd or 3rd round. Okay, but here again, here's a guy that could play the run for you. He's not great as a pass rusher. That's why he's going to go in later rounds. But this guy can play the run. Okay? He can play the run. He played edge last year. He could play defensive tackle. He could play nose. I'll tell you one thing, man. These LSU kids, tremendous motors. Just tremendous motors on how good of a effort guy he is. He's a guy that has a great motor. And again, this kid Jones from LSU, do one thing again. Put his tape on. First step, bang, bang. First thing you watch with a defensive tackle, how he gets out of his stance. Bang, boom. Who in their right mind says that fucking Jalix Hunt is elite? Let's see if he'll be a ball player first. How stupid. Dude, every single guy you signed, let me put this in proper perspective for some of you numbnuts. Every guy you signed had one good season, and the rest of their life as an NFL player has been dog shit. From the kid Uchi to the kid Aguilera, the rest of these guys had 1 year. Same as Bryce Huff. You know who they all look like to me? Bryce Huff. 1 year of double-digit sacks, and the rest of them have been dog shit. All dog shit. Josh Sweat had productive years for 5 straight seasons. Milton got better every year he played. Not like any one of those guys. Those guys never got better every year they were in the league. Well, Sills, they were playing with good football players. I don't know. The kid Joshua Uchi was up with Bill Belichick. And what happened to him after Belichick? He fell off the planet. Sills, do you believe Jordan Davis can improve, or would you move on from him if you were the Eagle GM? I'm moving on from him because of money, not because I want to. I'm not paying that guy $18 million. Get it out of your minds if you think the Eagles are going to. By the way, if you pay $60 million for those two guys, A.J. Brown's gone. Okay? Money's got to come from somewhere. If the Eagles are showing you one thing this year, they appropriate money. They got rid of Josh Sweat to pay Zach Bond. They're not adding. Have the Eagles added money to the defense? No. They did not add money. They moved money. Thank you, Jeff. Appreciate it, brother. Okay, that's right, Sue. They're a business like any other business. Stop with that shit. Absolutely, man. So the kid Jones is the guy you can get set in the 3rd or 4th round. I mean, he's got a great first step. Now, I kept an eye on this guy from Maryland. His name is Jordan Phillips. Had no sacks. 1 TFL. And boy, I'll tell you, man, Clint Hurt asked me to take a look at this guy a lot. And I just watched him play. 6'3", 320. Here's the deal, though. He's 20 years old. I mean, he's a 20-year-old kid. No sacks, 0 sacks in 25 games. Not for me. But he's got to be the youngest guy in the draft, man. Big, strong kid, 700-pound squatter. Could clean and jerk something like 365 pounds. Here's a dude that Jordan Phillips, you might draft him in the 3rd round, and you might get somebody that could blossom into being somebody. He's 20 years old. I mean, by the time, get this, next year's, I mean, I think if I'm not mistaken, I think Walter Nolan's 22. I mean, look at the age difference when you got just in those 2 guys alone. That's a lot. Now, am I taking him in the 32nd pick? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But would I take him in the 3rd or 4th round as a project? You took Jalix Hunt. Why not do that? So as you said, I do love Clint Hurt and Fangio. Do you think they can get the best out of our free agents? They will, yes. It won't be a coaching issue. Yes. Well, just so this, Scott, Vic Fangio couldn't do anything with Bryce Huff. As much as you guys give him kudos, and rightfully so, for Zach Bond, he couldn't get anything out of Bryce Huff. Well, his hand was injured. Okay. Well, what was the excuse then? Wait, funny. So you gave the injury issue when it came to a guy like Hassan Reddick, and you killed the kid because he had a hand injury, and he still had 11 and a half sacks with a hand injury. And a bad defensive coordinator. Hassan Reddick still had 11 and a half sacks. You killed him for that. But now Bryce Huff gets the benefit? Why? He's not the player Hassan Reddick is. I mean, why would you give Bryce Huff the benefit when you killed Hassan Reddick for having an off season? Hassan Reddick had an off season in Philly, and that was 11 and a half sacks. Bryce Huff showed up making $18 million, had 2.5. Deactivated for the playoffs. Excuse me, Super Bowl. And you're going to give him the benefit. Sills, yes, they each had one good year, but they played on lesser teams with questionable coaching. Okay. If you think, Bob, that those guys are going to roll in here and those guys are going to be productive and going to give you dollar store return by having 3 players equal 1 guy, have at it. I don't believe that. They were high-value prospects from quality programs. That even makes me more know that that's who they are. Jalix Hunt, you have no idea who he is, Bob, because this guy went to like Cornell and Houston Christian. I don't know who the fuck he is. I have no idea who that guy is. I kind of starting to see a little bit of it. I still don't know what he is. Does he have potential? It looks it. All these guys had 1 year and then fell off the planet. They are low-risk, high-reward options. Sure. You're not paying anything, praying for something to happen. Is that a better way of saying it? Sure. You know what this last statement by Bob is? They are low-risk, high-reward options. Yeah. They pay no money to hopefully get something out of the barn that people have been hiding away, and hopefully this thing turns into a split-window coupe 1963 Corvette. You're praying you're finding it when you open up the door of a barn on a farm that all of a sudden, instead of opening it up, you find an old F-150 in there. You're hoping that you find a 1963 split window coupe Corvette. That's what you're hoping for. I get it. Whoever Vic Fangio likes is a good player. Hey, remember what Dave Wannstedt said on this program? And he'll say it again to you about Vic Fangio. The system won't let you down. It's the players in the system that will. Do you have the right guys? And now with the way that they're looking at corner, I don't believe he believes the corner's on the team to take Slay's role. He says, I'm going to be in Howie's office because there's a lot of players that have been exited off this team. I don't know. I think Vic's got a lot of question marks on what he's been handed. How about this? Let me ask this one here. Do you think Vic Fangio's got a tougher job this year building a defensive team up because of the expectations of what happened on February 9th and in 2024? Or do you think last year was a tougher role for him? I think this year is going to be a tougher challenge for him because you got players with no reps. I mean, those guys that you keep mentioning to me about playing corner, I mean, until otherwise notice, those guys have a long road to go, dude. And you know what? Darius Slay set such a high bar that every year he was an Eagle, he was a Pro Bowler. You don't have a Pro Bowler sitting on your bench. Or Vic would have played him. See, when John McMullen tells you this, well, they didn't go to Sidney Brown because Sidney was coming off a knee injury. That's all well and good, and he's right. But when they never went to Keely Ringo and they went to Isaiah Rodgers all the time as a swing cornerback, that tells you how he thinks. He's going to play the best guy. He may not even play the healthiest guy. Shit, as soon as Cooper DeJean, after that injury he had, was a hamstring or something that he had in training camp, as soon as that kid was ready to go, he dropped him right in. Why wouldn't he have dropped Sidney Brown in? Now, Sidney Brown's injury was more catastrophic than what Cooper DeJean's was. So, I mean, that's just some of my takeaways. I think I got another guy. Did I write down another? I did. LT Overton, Alabama. Another kid, 20 years old. Get this. This kid just turned 21. Man, 2 sacks, 3 TFLs. And he has 2 sacks, 3 TFLs in the last 25 games. He's enormous. He's a great athlete. Here's something that you watch when you get him. I think you get this guy in the 4th round. Okay? This kid, when he lines up on you, he wins the battle. He's physically intimidating. Grabs you, has control of you. Okay? He's a good-looking player, man. He just, again, he falls into that land of where's the production? I'll tell you something I saw him do. Xander, I don't know if you know who this kid is LT Overton kid. I saw him do something that Jason Pierre-Paul did. I saw him when he was at USF. And I saw this kid jump out of a swimming pool up to his waist like this. And I saw him jump out. The explosive power he has. I love that. I love that shit, man. That's good stuff. Okay. I think you can get him, and right here is your replacement to play the run. Maybe you could develop him into being a pass rushing guy. 6'5", 285. He's 20, just turned 21. He doesn't have great college numbers, which, again, I want him to stop the run. and I could develop him because he's a dynamic. This guy has got Jalen Carter all over him. Or excuse me, Jordan Davis all over him. But he's not as expensive. Here, get this. If you watch him play, you could see finesse and you could see power. He just needs more time and more reps. I don't know. This could be a kid. Okay? This could be a kid that could shock people. Now, I will say something that I don't like with the guy. I was watching him in the Auburn game, and he must have had 3 missed tackles. Like, had him wrapped up, let him go. Again, that probably leads to some of the, like, here, let me tell you about this kid, Overton. This kid will make the hit. Have him. And he needs to be a better tackler. I asked Clint Hurd about this. And he said that that's something you can coach. And I was like, yeah, I don't know. He and I disagreed on this one. I said, I think you're either a good tackling player, and that's a skill set. That it's an innate skill set I think you have. I think there's tacklers, I think there's spear guys, and I think there's grabbers. You're one of those dudes. Tackling's an art. Okay? I mean, it's a mindset and it's an art. You have to love hitting people. Okay? You just have to love hitting people. See, sounds lazy. Well, that's because I was a superstar wrestler. And once I got my hands on you, M. Reyes, you weren't getting away from me. That wasn't happening. Okay? I'm a 600-pound bencher who ran 4.8s at 300 pounds and had almost a 30 vertical. You're not fucking getting away from me. That's not happening. I get my hands on you, you're going down. Okay? You're going down. Okay? I mean, I'm putting you on your back. I'll tell you, one of the best hits I ever had was on Eric Dickerson. I knocked the guy's helmet off, put him on a stretcher. I got that on film too. So are you watching Vader documentary tonight? Oh yeah. Love Vader. God rest his soul, man. Great player. Elijah Roberts, SMU. Defensive end. I'll do the defensive ends, and I'll take a look at some of those guys because I've been asked to take a look at some of them guys as well. But that's kind of my takeaways. I picked the Overton kid because I think you can get him in the later round. The Jordan Phillips kid, he's a young kid. The kid from Maryland. Strong. He just needs to be a better pass rusher. The kid Jones from LSU. Again, production is an issue for me here. He's got a great first. Here, I'll tell you guys, do me a favor. If you guys are going to start looking at players that you want the Eagles to take and potentially being defensive tackles, don't ask me to look up anybody who's got a shitty first step or I'm out. I mean, Walter Nolan is not quick. He looks fast, but quick. I don't need you to run a 40. I need you. Remember something. You know the most misleading stat is for defensive linemen is a 40-yard dash. Who gives a fuck how fast you are in a 40? I care how quick you are off the line of scrimmage. I play in a phone booth. I don't play in space if I'm a DT. Right? So when that's why Jordan Davis's time is misleading. He's got a slow first step. He doesn't play over his pads. How he got enamored by the 4.78, which meant nothing at the end of the day. It meant nothing. Okay? His 40 time, every time you guys bring up Sills, this DT ran a 4 something, and I'm like, so what? What were your splits in the shuttle? How fast were you off the line of scrimmage? That's your impact. Jalen Carter is insane of a first step. Insane. Okay? Sills loves to bring up that 4.8 because I put it together with the first step. That means once I got in the backfield, I was running your ass down like I was a gorilla. Sills Overton gets there and makes the first and makes the hit, shows he's not afraid of contact. From what you described, Overton closes his eyes on impact, allowing the separation after impact. That's fixable. And that's what Clint Hurt's take is on him. Okay? Get this. Shows you what the Heisman Trophy means. How about this? Davis had Heisman votes, and he sucks right now where he was taken. How you doing? By the way, for the record, I had a better rookie season than he did. Imagine Sills going for the spear. Speared people all the time. Now you can't do that shit. Can't use your head. Okay? So, end of the day, here are the guys with the first steps that I liked. Like I said too, Bob, I think there's something about this kid from Bama, this Overton kid, that I can work with. I got to watch more on him. The kid, Jordan Phillips, he just needs to be a better pass rusher. And he does have a great first step. I am enormous on that. The kid, Jones, LSU, another one with a great first step. The kid, Harmon's a better pass rusher than he is run stopper. That concerns me. I'm not replacing Jordan Davis for that. That's not where I'm at right now. Remember something. If I'm going to replace Jordan Davis, he has to be better against the run. I'm not surrendering that for 2 sacks. I'm just not. The Sanders kid, great motor, not a very good tackler, is an athlete. He's got moves. Just giving you a recap. The kid Walker's enormous from Kentucky. I don't know. I look at him and I go, he's big. He's got great size to him. He's got great strength. Okay. He's okay. I mean, I don't know. I've been like, sure. Would I draft him? I could get a guy in the 4th round. The same shit. I'm not taking that guy high. Like what, 3rd round? 4th? Maybe. I mean, like, look here. I'll give you my rounds here. And what I would do with these guys. These are the guys Clint had me look at. Walter Nolan. He's a 1st rounder. I'm suspect on that step, though, boys. Whoa. He's strong as hell. I think he's limited, though, to being an interior guy. There's some pass rush moves. 25 hurries are okay. Just doesn't seem to be exceptionally. I mean, 10.5 sacks in 23 games. That's not awful. That's not awful. Okay. What's the issue with Ty Robinson? Not a 1st round. I want to look at him more. I'll get back with you on that. Shamar Stewart, huge. He's good against the run, had some hurries, had a bunch of quarterback hits in 24, the A&M kid. he's built a lot like, but a little thinner than Jordan Davis. The Kenny Grant kid is better than I thought. Okay? 330, 6'3.5". He's good against the run. Got a great motor. I mean, and he has, I'll tell you what, of all the guys in the draft, he's probably the quickest defensive tackle that's in the draft. And Walter Nolan now, after watching him on film, I'm going back and forth, and Clint goes, "What do you think?" I go, "I just don't see a really great first step." I mean, and they can run misdirection at him. Misdirection is this. They can influence block him, which means that his feet he looks a little in his feet like Mozzie Smith. Okay. But once he engages, I think he's more powerful. Okay. So I don't know. If Walter Nolan's there, I don't know. I told Clint, he goes, "What if Walter's there? Would you take him?" I go, "I don't know. I just don't think he's quick." I just like, how about this? Jordan Davis, I think, is a better ball player. Would I draft him at 32? I don't know. Would I draft a kid Stewart from A&M at 32? I just don't see a lot of production. Would I draft Kenny Grant at 32? I would. Would I draft Walker from Kentucky at 32? Maybe. Huge guy. 6'6", 350. I think he's got to lose weight. Harmon. Here's my problem with Harmon. He's not as good as run stopper as Jordan. Would I draft him at 32? He's a quickness guy. He's got pass rush, but again, he's got a great football motor. He knows the game. He's got long arms. But again, I think I'm looking at Javon Hargrave with him. What'd you think of Javon Hargrave with Harmon? Javon Hargrave's a good football player. I'm not saying he's not. Okay? I'm not. So to me, if I'm looking at all these DTs, I'm probably going edge and getting my defensive tackle in the second or third round. Okay? Yeah. It's just my takeaway on him. I think the edges are better. I think you can get me. Walter Nolan belongs in the bottom of the rounds from 15 down to 32. Stewart belongs down between 20 and 32. Kenny Grant, probably in between 10 and 25. Walker, second to third round. Sanders, second to third round. Harmon, 1532. Jones, third to fourth round. Phillips, third to sixth round. Overton is the outlier. I get asked a lot of questions from the Eagles on him, from Clint. He's so young. By the way, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I think Saban recruited him. Or any of these players in the draft, could they replace Moro Jomo? I don't think so. I think if you draft one of these guys at 32, I don't think one of them could beat Moro Jomo out. Like, is Jordan Davis better than the players that are in the draft right now? Is Jordan Davis better than Overton? Yes. Is he better than Phillips? Yes. Is he better than Jones? Yes. Is he better than Harmon? Probably. Is he better than Sanders? Yes. Is he better than Walker? Yes. Is he better than Grant? No. Is he better than Shamar Stewart? I think they're the same guy. Stewart's just a little smaller. Is he better than Nolan? I think he's just a bigger version of Nolan. Now, remember something. I say that to you. Walter Nolan, Jordan Davis was the 13th pick. So he's just a bigger version of Walter Nolan? That's the 13th player taken. Okay? So that's my breakdown of the DTs. Okay? I mean, comparing already a 3-year vet with a yet to be drafted player, that's hard. I'm talking skill set, dude. Jordan Davis hasn't developed. He's the same guy he was when he came out of college. He's the same dude. They just moved him inside further. Dude, remember something. The further you get moved in from your original role and what they are asking you to do, remember this. Jalen Carter plays in a 3 technique. He's the guy that he's asked to make the plays. 1 technique, 0 technique are not asked. They're asked to keep the line of scrimmage with integrity for the backers and the 3 technique to play. See, this is where some of you guys miss out a little bit. The responsibility of a 5 technique is what? Containment, setting the edges, pass rushing. A defensive tackle 3 technique, get up the field, control your 1 gap, slide down and making sure that you don't get slipped and scooped. Nose, you're responsible for 2 gaps, A and B. You've got to know all these roles up and down the line of scrimmage for you to be a successful defensive football team. That's what Frank Reich said yesterday. Everybody on that defense knew everyone's role. You know what makes the great defense is super great? A cornerback knows what the responsibility of a 3 technique is. And the 3 technique knows what the responsibility of a zone cover corner is. It's not just knowing your sandbox. It's knowing the integrity of the scheme. And if you don't know the integrity of the scheme, all you're looking out for is your own place. That doesn't make good football. That just doesn't make good football. You got to know if you're in a 3, your linebacker's behind you. You got to know where he's set up. You got to know if you're blitzing, if you're going to take a gap, if you're going to take a run stunt. You got to know all the integrity, because one move like that all sets the integrity of the scheme. And you blow up the entire scheme doing that. You can't do that. You leave It's basically called leaving your players and your teammates hanging. And that's right. 20 snaps is not going to cut it. We're going to do something here with my boy Xander Krause here. I got some opportunities at 32 on what to do, but I want to get our guy in here. By the way, man, I'll tell you this, folks. You know what he's getting a good sense of? What Big Sil's practicing. That's what homie's getting a good sense on. This guy's wearing a T-shirt, and he's sweating his baguettes off down there. Hey, he leaves his house, and he's sweating his baguettes off. You imagine putting some equipment on, getting out there for 3 freaking hours. Hey, I have no idea how I survived that BS playing for UM. And the Buccaneers. I have no idea. By the way, Bruce Arians will join us at 5:30. AJ became an Eagle on draft day. I believe we meant draft day. Can he be out? I don't think this year. I don't think we're going there. But I'm going to ask Xander about that. Without further ado, the man, the myth, the legend, who's sweating his baguettes off, my boy, Big Z, Xander Krause.
What's up, Big Sills? How you doing, brother?
Hey, how's that thing hanging out there for you, man?
It's hot, man. There's no doubt about it, man. You walk outside and you're hot down here in Florida. But nice weather, man. It's hot. But good to be down here in Florida. And definitely don't know how you guys did it at the University of Miami.
I can't think them Alabama practices were that much.
Oh, they weren't good either.
Dude, the humidity in them places too also, yeah, man. No that doubt. Ain't that good down there in Tuscaloosa.
No doubt.
All right, Xander, what'd you make of my assessment of the defensive line that I threw at you there and some of the defensive tackle guys and prospects? Those are my overall takeaways just on some of the guys, just watching tape, having Clint ask me to take a look at some of these guys. Is there a guy that you like at 32?
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple options and ways they can go here. I'm leaning more toward edge rusher at the front, just because I think the right one is going to fall to you. You know, I think Walter Nolan's going to be off the board. His game tape's not crazy good, but I do like the upside of the player. I think he's going to be a good player. I like James Pierce. You know, Shamar Stewart is one guy that I'm back and forth on right now, Sills. I like him, but the game tape doesn't really match up what I'm hearing about him and reading about him. But I do see why people would like to take a shot on that type of athleticism. But look, a lot of good options. I think the way the board falls is going to dictate this draft entirely, right? I mean, if the right guy comes in the range, I could see him going up. If they're taken off the board, I could see him falling back significantly and going to 40 and looking for more picks that they can get day one starters on. You know, not necessarily a huge upside guy, but day one starters.
Do you know anything about this LT Overton kid? I mean, he seems to be somebody that they have some interest in because you can get him in the latter rounds.
Right.
You know, he just turned 21 in April here. Not a ton of production, but, you know, he was a 5-star guy. I think, Nick, this was his last recruiting class that he had here with him. And he's just got so much raw talent. And he's a big 6'5" guy, 285. And again, I mean, he shows tremendous athleticism. You know, I tuned on the film and I'm watching it and I see it, but I don't really see a lot of production. Do you know much about him?
I mean, I watched him play at the University of Alabama. He was pretty damn good on our defense. He was super athletic, dude. I actually think, if I'm thinking of the right dude, I think he has a background in basketball.
Correct.
Yeah, and he's super athletic. I mean, I like a player like that. I think they're going to take shots like that. I think that's actually a pretty good name if you can get him in those latter rounds. Super athletic and fast. You know, fast off the edge. And obviously Vic Fangio likes guys like that. I like that name. That's a good name. I haven't even thought about him, but let me load him up real quick and take a look at his profile. I remember watching him, though, at Alabama. I think, if I'm not mistaken, he was initially going to Texas A&M.
No, that's the other kid. The other kid who went, if I'm not mistaken, wait a minute. I thought
he initially committed to A&M in 22.
Okay.
Yeah, and then he swapped over to Bama.
Can you imagine? They had at one time at A&M, they had Walter Nolan at A&M. They had that kid Stewart at A&M, and they had that scouting kid at A&M.
Yeah, I think well, now that I'm looking at it, he's from College Station, which is where Texas A&M is, like born
Right.
there. So he's born right there. But no, yeah, he played at Alabama. Good player. I actually like that name for the latter round. So he's also super young. I think he's 20 years old.
Dude, yeah, he's going to be like 21 in some time here in April. And boy, I'll tell you, man, you talk about a lot of young guys here. See, that's why I'm leaning also towards the edge. I want to do a roll with you here. Oh, by the way, before I do that, here's a new comments coming out of Los Angeles on Bryce Huff. How do you think about Howie eating 50% of the contract and the Eagles getting a sixth round and them sending Bryce Huff to the – because if I'm not mistaken, somebody in that front office was with the Jets when Bryce Huff was there. He's in their front office now in San Diego or in Los Angeles, excuse me. And Howie eating a percentage of that contract. They're not going to let him get off the hook. It's just too much money. And the Chargers are not going to eat that. However, 50% of the money the Eagles eat and they get a sixth-round draft choice in return, would you move the player?
I think it all depends on what Vic wants. Like, because you're so thin at that position, does Vic honestly feel like he can be some sort of a rotational player on this team in any capacity? If Vic says yes, then I'm waiting until the draft. All right, see what you get in the draft. If you get a right edge and you feel better about the position, you move on from him and you probably make that move. Now, maybe it wouldn't be available after the draft, but if Vic wants to use him, I don't see a reason to eat that much money. I mean, unless you really feel like the 53rd man on the roster is going to be more worth than Bryce Huff for that price. I don't know about that. Probably not, if we're being honest with ourselves. So unless Vic is like, hey, man, I'm out on that guy. That guy just doesn't fit what I want to do. He's not the right player, not the right skill set, not the right mentality. Then, yeah, get the hell over it. I mean, shit, that's a pretty favorable deal if that's what Vic tells you, right? I mean, I just don't know if Vic is going to tell you that or not, but I do think it would come down to him. I mean, look at what he did with Jalix last year. Look at what he did with Moro Jomo. You know, if Vic wants to play you, I have reason to believe there's a reason for that. And if he doesn't, I think that's a good trade. I'd get rid of him.
And I think, like you said, I don't think Vic looks at where you're drafted or how much money you're making. Vic
doesn't give a shit. That's one of my favorite parts about him.
Me too. That's one of my favorite things, and that really tells a player right there where you stand. You know, I just got a chart here. I think this is pretty interesting here. These are the visits so far, the 30 visits that the Eagles have been on, and these are the projected first-round draft choices that they have and what they're looking at right now. So Connerly, offensive tackle, is a first-round prospect. How do you say that kid's name from BC again?
Izaraku, yeah, Donovan Izaraku or whatever.
He's another guy, edge. Nick Scout D-line is projected a first-rounder. And his cornerback, Trey Amos, is also a first-round pick. This is interesting. Yeah. Here's the second-round projections. Marcus Embo, Missouri, offensive line. Donovan Jackson, O-line. Charles Grant, OT. TJ Sanders, second-round DL. Jamar Turner, DL, second round. Maxwell Harrison, cornerback, second round. Here's third. Anthony Belton, OT. This edge rusher, Oladejo, Oladejo.
Oladejo, is that who it is?
Yeah. Projected.
He's actually good. I like him.
Projected a third rounder. Yeah. Interesting. Jacob Parrish, cornerback.
Yeah, he's the 5'9" corner, so he'd be a slot corner.
So the Eagles are looking at corner in the first, second, and third round. How about this here? Fourth round, Jaden Blue, running back, and Elijah Roberts, DL. And for the fifth round, Dylan Fairchild, inside O-line, Jalen Reed, safety, Jalen Travis, OT, and Tyler Barron, the kid from Miami, fifth round, edge. So, I mean, that's pretty interesting stuff here, man, where they would go Amos potentially at corner and Harrison in the second round at corner, Jacob Parrish corner, Elijah Roberts DL, and then Tyler Barron edge. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's a chart that they're looking at. Now, again, this is not what they'll do. These are the visits of the players and where they're projected to go.
Right. It sounds like Sills. If I'm reading the tea leaves correctly here, you can almost look at what they're looking at in each
Yes.
round.
Yes.
Right? I mean, it looks like those top 3 picks, they want
OT, edge, DL,
and
corner.
and defensive tackle, offensive tackle, or offensive lineman, whatever, and corner. Those are the 4 positions they seem to be all over. Now, the weird thing is now we have 18 reported out of 30 so far. So there's 12 names out there that could have come in or could still be coming in that maybe are they going to hit a tight end? Is something happening around the tight end position that I'm missing? Because it's deep, but you're not even bringing in a top 3 round pick.
No.
After
you're
Dallas
right.
Goedert?
I didn't know that 12 were not reported yet.
Well, it's only our list is 18. You get 30 of them. I assume they're going to use all 30 of them, and they're not the type of thing that has to be reported. So, they're kind of coming in at, they're sprinkling in on who the Eagles have visited with. But from the 18 names we know, we can clearly identify what their early preference is in player. And the surprising one is corner. I mean, they got a lot of corner. Amos is a first round prospect. You mentioned Maxwell Hairston. He's a guy that, depending on how the board fall, he could go round 1, could go early round 2. He's one of those tweener guys right there. Jacob Parrish is a little bit later. He's probably a 3rd rounder. So if you're looking at Amos as a 1st rounder, Hairston as a 2nd rounder, Parrish as a 3rd rounder, you're looking at 3 corners in one of those rounds. That would tell you, maybe not, that would tell you they're looking for a corner in the top 3 picks.
There's no doubt they're looking for a corner. And you know what? Like you said here, what's interesting, it's really not the name. You're right, Xander, to look at the position. OT, Connolly, edge, BC kid, the Texas A&M kid, D-line, and corner. So OT, edge, D-line, corner. You got to remember, you're sitting at 32, dude. Okay? You're kind of a slave to where the draft board falls.
No, you are 100%, yeah.
Here's the 2nd round. Interior offensive guard.
Makes sense.
OT, DL, corner again. 3rd round, OT, edge, corner again. 4th round, running back, DL. 5th round, guard, safety, offensive tackle, edge. That sounds right to me.
What was the 5th round? Offensive guard, safety,
OT, and edge.
Yep. This exactly sounds like an Eagles draft. A running back in the 4th, a safety in the 5th, or another trench piece in the 5th if you don't like the safety options there. In the early 3 rounds, you got defensive end, defensive tackle, offensive line. And again, the wild card in there is the corners in the top three rounds. You have a projected corner in each of the top 3 rounds. That is interesting when you look at the way these 18 have shaken out.
Absolutely here. And so, like you said here, with what we're doing here and what we're looking at here, again, it's not so important, the names. It's more important here to take a look at what, and I'll tell you, are you not shocked? Are you not shocked by the corner position that we're looking at here, that they were going corner? Doesn't that tell you that Vic is not sold on the guys that they have in the building right now?
Absolutely. I mean, at the very least, it tells you that they're at least looking. They're exploring the market. They haven't ruled it out, right? I mean, I don't know if they're out or maybe they're exploring a trade option. I don't, I did wonder that. Like, what do you think about this? And I'm not saying they're going to do this at all. I'm just speculating, reading the tea leaves, because I don't truly believe that they're going to use a top 1st or 2nd pick on a corner. I just don't. I'm sorry. Even with the guys coming in. So what if you toss Keely Ringo in a 4th rounder for a starting cornerback? I'm not saying they're going to do that. I'm just wondering if something like that is in their purview to get better at that position.
I threw that out a couple days ago where that 32nd pick, could you go get a starting corner somewhere?
Exactly. I don't know if you'd go 32nd, though.
Depending on how desperate that team is.
Remember, you will find corners that are good that are not getting I mean, look at James Bradbury. James Bradbury was a 2nd-team All-Pro his first year in Philly. I'm not saying you're going to get that every time, but you picked him up in August. So I'm wondering if you can get a semi-proven player with upside, that they can package and move for. It might not be Ringo, it might be somebody else, or just some picks, but whatever. It's clear they want a cornerback. Why do you bring in Trey Amos? Why do you bring in Jacob Parrish? Why do you bring in Maxwell Hairston if you're not looking at a corner? I mean, they're obviously looking at a corner. Maybe they want to solidify that secondary with another young player.
And it doesn't seem to me that the Eagles throw smoke screens out by doing things like this, where they're trying to mislead you here, where they're going in a different position, because some teams like the Raiders will do this. The Raiders will bring in guys, and those are guys that they have no interest in whatsoever, and they're trying to mislead you and trying to take somebody else. Remember something. There's a scouting system called Bledsoe, and I worked a little bit with Bledsoe. Bledsoe is the system, Xander, that around 28 teams use. It's a scouting system. They put all the players in a hat. Then they throw it out to all the teams and their area scouts. They all use Bledsoe. Bledsoe has it's the league scouts. Then the area scouts come in. Bledsoe puts a list together. Those are the guys invited to the combines. Remember who do you think invites the players to the combines? It's not the teams.
Right.
It's Bledsoe. Bledsoe is a scouting service. People don't know that service, because that's how you get these names. Well, that all being said, a lot of these guys here, this is how the Eagles set up their board. I don't believe they're part of the crew that just throws out. Now, I'm shocked there's no tight end. Now, we don't know.
That's what I mean. What are they doing at tight end, Sills?
Yeah, but wait, we don't know. They haven't looked at a tight end.
No, we don't know, but your names are dwindling. You're now at 18 out of 30, which leaves you what? I mean, you got 40% still remaining to see. I mean, 40% of the names, I think, if I'm doing
in
that
3
math right.
weeks.
Right. So we'll see. Maybe, they got to bring in the tight end at some point. I mean,
unless they're going to keep him.
Even if you keep him,
they still may keep the kid.
Even if you keep him, don't you? I don't know. Did you hear the owner? Did you hear the GM down at them owners meetings talking about Dallas Goedert? They sounded like the man was gone.
Oh, absolutely.
They literally, the owner clumped him in a conversation with Milton and Sweat and CJ. Those are all guys that are gone.
Yeah, but that could be also negotiations.
That's true. That's true.
They could also be going like this. We don't need you. We want you. And if you don't want to be here on the money we've got, guess what? In our minds, you're gone. Unless you come back to us and say, I'll play for this number. I mean,
that's fair.
But I think the Arizona contract kind of throws things for a loop, because they made that guy that kind of money and they gave that dude that kind of money. God, it's better than that guy in Arizona. He's just not healthier. Now, let me throw some of these at you here. I threw some scenarios around yesterday, and I want to throw what you think of this. How about this? Say you're sitting at 32. You trade up with the Vikings. We're sitting there at 24. The Vikings get your 32nd pick and your 96th pick and your 161 pick for you to move up to number 24. Don't you think that's as high as you would go?
Yeah.
For a guy, if you wanted to do that? And the Vikings would get the 32nd pick in the draft, and then you get to move up to 24, giving up your first-round pick, a 96 and a 164, for you to go up and get an edge rusher or whatever position you're looking at, if somebody's on that board you like. This is one option. Let me give you another one.
All right. I think that's a little high.
Okay. Malachi Starks at 32.
No.
Okay. Let me give you another one. Now, follow me here, and I threw this at people. So say you're sitting at 32, and you've taken Travis Hunter. The Giants call you, who have the 34th pick in the second round. And they come to you, and they go, hey, we'd like to have the 32nd pick. You move out of the 32nd, and you move down to 34, and you move in with the Giants there, and you acquire another third-round pick for you to move down in that pick. Or you can go with the Raiders sitting at 37. Trade with them. Go with them. Go into the second round. Grab your guy in the second. acquire another either third or fourth round pick. The Saints are sitting at 40. They may want to take Jackson Dart down there at 32. They need a quarterback. Or somebody like Jalen Milroe. I don't know. They need a quarterback. You slide over to 39 and you move out for them to be able to get their quarterback, and you acquire more rounds. So what I'm saying is at 32, the Giants are sitting at 34, the Raiders are at 37, and the Saints are at 39. Don't you think that pick becomes more valuable? Say the Giants take Travis Hunter. They need a quarterback, dude.
Right.
They don't have a guy in the building.
Yep.
Say they want to go get Jackson Dart. They want to get somebody. Raiders, they just traded for Geno. Well, they may need a wide receiver sitting down there. Maybe that kid from Ohio State's still down there at 32. You grab his ass, and the Saints obviously need a quarterback. They got a decision to make coming up here at the end of April. Are you really going to pay Derek Carr a $40 million bonus? Or are you going to move him off your already dead salary cap that you're the last in the league? So you could be sitting pretty good at 32, acquiring more picks. Now, here's another one. That kid from Ohio State, wide receiver, follow me here on this. The Eagles draft a receiver, and I heard you guys talking, no way at 32. All right, well, doesn't this start the process?
Which receiver are you talking about? Jeremiah Smith?
The Akuka kid, the Amika?
Amiko Buko. Yeah, I was going to say. I didn't think Smith was going.
Number 32, you draft him there. You begin the process of moving off of AJ, knowing full well that you've got a contract coming up with Cam Jurgens and also Jalen Carter, where you're going to have to pay $60 million a year for those two dudes. There's no question, watching the Eagles operate, it's not that they're broke, Xander. They're being economically sound in how they spread their money around and how they're going to pay. What was the number one theme? Our young players. Nolan Smith, he has 10 sacks. You're talking about more. What if Jordan does have 6.5 sacks? You're talking about being in a bind with a lot of players coming up. I think AJ's the first one off the thing because he's a $35 million guy. And what if the Eagles win again the same way they won last year by running the ball? You could make that argument that you could start the process down there by drafting a receiver and also start the process of moving off of A.J. Brown. You didn't win a ball game. I mean,
I don't think you're there though, Sills. I really don't. I understand. I think this thought makes a lot more. I think this thought makes a lot more sense a year from today. You know, when Jalen Carter's coming off a massive deal and you're going to have to pay Nolan Smith and some of these other defensive contracts. I don't think today that makes sense for A.J. Brown. My favorite of the scenarios you proposed was either the Giants or the Raiders. Somewhere in there where you can pick up another third-round pick. You stay pretty high in the second round. So now you kind of added another day 2 pick where if you can get 3-4 picks in day 2, you know what I mean? You might be able to get some key contributors there, some starting guys at all the positions you need: tight end, tackle, edge, corner maybe if that's something they want to do. So I like that. I like that proposal. I don't know if it'll be so simple, but if the quarterbacks fall, the chances of that increase dramatically with every pick that they fall because all those bottom picks become more valuable every time a quarterback falls, even starting at 27, 28, 29. You know what I mean? They all become more valuable. So it's going to be interesting to see if they do fall. John seems to think that the Giants are not taking Sanders at number 3. I'm not sure if he's been given information. I'm not sure. It does. He is telling me. Seems like the Giants have come to their senses. So I'm not sure. Maybe it's bullshit. Maybe it's smoke and mirrors. But if they fall, I think that's a good thing for the Eagles.
Well, I think there's a possibility, that there could be potentially as many as 4 quarterbacks drafted in the first round.
You got Cam, Shador. You got, I guess, Bart, Milroe, and Tyler Show. And Tyler Show, I guess, the Louisville kid. Yeah, people like him apparently too. I don't see it with many of these guys. I don't know, brother. I mean, we'll see what they end up doing with this. Shador, I like Shador because I think he's going to have the biggest impact on one of these shitty teams. But I don't see a guy like Tyler Show. I don't see a guy like Milrow. I don't see a Jackson Dart turning a team. I think those are a couple year project guys. You know, Shador, here's the thing about Shador. He's going to sink or swim. All right. You're going to throw him into the fire, probably early, and he's either going to rise up like a phoenix or whatever you call it, or he's gonna crash out. I don't think he's the type of guy that needs to be this long-term, project player. He's a pro-style quarterback already. Has nice touch on the ball. He's not super excellent at anything. He's not the most athletic, not the best arm in the world, but I like him the most of all the quarterbacks probably. Cam Ward, I think, is the most upside because of the arm, but
I think Shador holds the ball too long in the pocket. I think he takes too many sacks. I think he waits for the routes to develop.
Well, look, I mean, he's not
instead of trusting his eyes and trusting his arm. I think he waits for I think he has a little Jalen. Jalen has that little issue.
Yeah, but that's where it's a perfect example though, because you got to let these guys develop. They're not finished products; they're starting products. And that doesn't mean they're all going to.
You're coming to a lesser environment though in the pros.
Well, it's a harder environment, no doubt about it. But that doesn't mean you're not going to. I mean, that doesn't mean that there's no ability to overcome some of those obstacles, even things that you might not do well at this level. So I like Shador, but 5 quarterbacks in this round 1 would be insanity. That would be insanity.
I don't think 5. I think 4.
Yeah.
I know that they've invited Milrow up to go to the draft. I mean, I know they're kind of looking at him in that aspect there.
Did you hear what Didinger said?
What's that?
Did you hear what Ray Didinger said?
No.
Move up and draft Mike Green.
I've been suggesting that since day one.
I don't think they're going to do it, but
I'm telling you, he's the best edge. Let me tell. I don't know. I'll take that back. He's the second best edge, but he's probably the 15th best prospect, if that makes sense, because he's a higher rated prospect with this. And here, let me show you something here, and I'll give you just my take. Cam Ward, Tennessee, that makes sense. They haven't had a quarterback in there, believe it or not, since a very adequate and average Ryan Tannehill. So you're probably going there. The Browns are in such financial despair with – I'll make this point to you. Let me ask you a question here. You think Deshaun Watson ever plays football again?
Yeah.
They owe $140 million.
It's
guaranteed.
possible. It's possible he doesn't, right? I mean, it's definitely possible. Is he going to go and be a journeyman backup somewhere? No way.
When I have $250 million in the bank.
Right. I mean, I'm not doing that. So
why would I do that?
Yeah, I guess it's possible he doesn't. I mean, he's out for the whole year this year, right? That's already confirmed.
Yep. And the owner, Jimmy Haslam, has already said it's a colossal disaster.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
It's the worst contract signed in history because the amount of assets you gave up to get him too, and the money you paid him.
Yeah.
So to me,
absolutely brutal.
I don't think they're taking a quarterback there. I think they're going to take Travis Hunter there. At corner. Why? Because you got to do something to put him on the back end of Myles Garrett. You just gave Myles Garrett $40 million. One thing is for sure, Cleveland Browns if they're gonna win games this year, dude, they're not gonna win them on offense and at the quarterback position. I mean, who the hell they got in there? I don't even know who they got in there now playing quarterback for them. I mean,
I don't either.
I think they're gonna I think Abdul Carter goes to the Giants. I think that's right. But here's the problem I have with that. So what are you going to do with Kayvon Thibodeau?
Wait, you think Abdul Carter?
But why now? I think there's a trade coming because what are you going to do with Kayvon Thibodeau?
Yeah, that's what I mean. This board's not going to fall. Like if the Titans take Cam Ward, and now you're at the Browns. Let me ask you, why would the Browns? Who do you think the Browns would take?
Travis Hunter.
Are you sure of that? They got pretty damn good corners in Cleveland, and they don't have a quarterback, so what are you drafting a wide receiver for?
He's not a wideout. He's a corner.
All right, you got great corners in Cleveland. Spent a 4th overall pick on Denzel Ward a 5 years ago, however long that was. That guy's a stud.
Travis Hunter, in my eyes, like you like Shador Sanders, I think he's the best player in the draft.
Oh, I don't like Shador that much. But I like Shador. I don't see it with Travis like that.
You know what? Maybe Shador goes here to New York.
I don't know. Here's my problem with Hunter right now, and I could be terribly wrong, and I'll eat my words if I am. I keep hearing, it's like one of those things you hear something so many times. I keep hearing, I heard all year long at Colorado, I heard his entire college career, generational talent. And then I put on the tape. I watched him at his pro day. I don't see generational. I see a good player. I see a guy who's a better athlete than 90%, 95% of college players and was able to play wide receiver and cornerback. I don't see an exceptional wideout. I do see a damn good cornerback, but that's not generational.
You didn't see it. You didn't think his game tape was that good?
His game tape was good, but do you see I've never seen this before.
I've never seen a guy play at that level, 200 snaps on both sides of the ball.
Right. But that's the amazing part, which is unlikely to happen at the next level. The
If
talent
I
is
took
not
all them reps away on one side of the ball and put them on one side of the football and put them in special packages. How about this? What do you think Travis Hunter would do in San Francisco with Kyle Shanahan?
probably be a good fit for him. Never happened, but it'd be a good fit for him.
You know what? It's an interesting take. Okay.
I'm just saying, I'm not saying what he did wasn't great, it was great. But my point is, how does it translate to the pros? Are you going to be a middler at corner and wide receiver in the pros? No. Are you going to be a dominant corner? Are you going to be a dominant wideout? Like, what is your identity going to be in the NFL when you're playing versus the best of the best? And even the best of the best in college go to the pros and get cracked. So that's all I'm saying is, what are you going to be?
I don't look, you're
because so here, wouldn't you rather be this? Ready? And again, this is part of my issue. Let me just plug in my computer so I don't die here. All right. Wouldn't you rather be this? Wouldn't you rather be a dominant generational player at your position going into the draft? For example, Abdul Carter. You look at him and people are like, holy shit, this guy has a chance to be an unbelievable edge rusher. Then a great player who played multiple positions. And instead of the generational tag coming from how good you are at your position, it comes because your ability to play multiple positions. I'd rather be great at one. I'd rather be the master of one than great at all of them. That's what I'm saying. And I don't know if he checks that box fully. I do think he's going to be a good corner, though.
The question comes down because if the Browns or the Giants don't draft Sanders, I think he tumbles. Because then you got to go like this with Cleveland. What are they doing at quarterback? Do they think one of these guys is the guy? Or do you look at it this way, Xander? Nobody's going to project that the Browns are going to have a 10-win season this year.
Well, back to my take real quick. I'm with this dude because why I disputed Travis. I thought the Browns would take Carter.
Okay. Don't you think they're going to try to line themselves up next year for Arch Manning?
Yeah, I think that's plausible. You mean the Giants?
Or them, or Cleveland.
Or the Browns, yeah. I think that's possible. I mean, I wouldn't operate in that way, but I do understand why people would sacrifice a year for a potential 10-year window of a star quarterback. I understand why people would do it, but have you seen something from Arch Manning that I haven't?
I think Arch Manning is a pretty good
I do. I think he's a good player. I do.
And I think he's done something for me. When I watch him and the way he runs, I see not quite a Josh Allen type of guy, but bro, he's fast. He's got a big arm. He gets out in space. I thought he was better than Quinn Ewers. I
do too. I like him. I'm just saying I haven't seen something.
And I think Ewers will go in the 3rd and 4th round this year.
Here's my problem.
And I think a ball.
I think Archer's going to be good. I'm just saying I haven't seen something that would say I'm going to give up my season for that guy. It's not like he came out in his first year, won the job over Quinn Ewers, took the team to a national championship and won a Heisman Trophy. I'm not hanging up everything this year to go get him. I think he's a good player. I also get a kick out of this just on a different note. I mean, the Mannings have been doing this forever, right? And I have no problem with it, right? The Manning name gets you in. You got Archie, you got Peyton, you got Eli. Now you're going to have Arch again. I get it. All right, it's great. All the men. Why is everybody getting so upset with with Sanders. I don't understand.
Oh, I don't have any problem with a guy.
I have zero problem with it.
I don't
and
have.
think that-
I have a problem with people suggesting that when you go high in the draft, you know what the best thing could happen to him? That he does tumble.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you why. Because if he tumbles, and say he goes down to Pittsburgh and he's with Tomlin, or say he gets down and he goes down and the 49ers, say he goes down and he goes down further and all of a sudden he's down where the Bucks are, or he goes down and he's down there with Jim Harbaugh, or he goes down and he falls and he's sitting there with the LA Rams, and that's their plan to move off of Stafford into him, and he's with Sean McVay. Or he goes and he's got Cliff Kingsbury. No, he's not going to do that, Washington. But yeah, as you're down here towards the end, the lower in the draft you go, the better organization you go. So for me, for him, his best bet might be to slide down into the draft and get to a place like a Seattle. Because let's be candid, Sam Darnold's not the future. He's a gap guy. Okay? I mean, I wouldn't want to go to the Colts. I wouldn't want to go. Maybe he goes to Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore grabs him in the New Orleans Saints, and there's Shedeur Sanders sitting there, and he falls all the way down because if he doesn't go in the second or third pick, I got a feeling that Saints pick at 9, that thing's got Shedeur Sanders all over it.
I could see that.
And you move off of Derek Carr, and you don't have to pay him that money of $40 million and what you have coming to him when it comes to his bonus, because then it becomes guaranteed. You have to pay him $48 million after June. I mean, after April, you got to pay him 48. They're not doing that. They're 62 over the cap now. You take Sanders at 9.
Who do you think the Bears take at 5?
So the Bears did a lot of work
When
it came to their offensive line. They signed 3 dudes in their offensive line. I'm going to tell you, man, I would not be shocked if they take the Boise State kid.
Genty?
Yeah. They have him.
That would be the right pick.
They have him and Swift.
Right. And remember, Ben Johnson's their coach, who just came from Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery.
And you put the running back. You look, 2 years ago, you addressed the wideouts. This offseason, you addressed the O-line. Now you address the running game. All I would say to you is, doesn't that make more sense on that side? Or you flip it around and you get yourself an edge rusher.
Are we sure that what's his name's not going to the Cowboys at 12?
Shedeur?
Yeah.
But here's the thing again with that. Just like with Jalen. Bro, you can draft all the linebackers you want. I have a no trade in my contract. I set the table. You're not going to send me to some shitty team like the Browns.
Yeah, but
I have control. I have the no trade. So what are they going to do? You're going to pay $100 million and 2 guys with Myles Garrett, and with him, he makes $60 million, man. He almost becomes untradeable. Don't you think?
Yeah, probably. I could see the Cowboys taking a wideout too at 12.
That would be typical Cowboys, building the team from the outside in. People forget the Eagles can make.
Yeah, they just lost a bunch of trenches players.
The Eagles can go they just lost Zach Martin. You know what the Eagles can do? The Eagles can take a wide receiver at 32 in this draft if they felt like it. They're not gonna. But say they wanted to. You know why? Because they got the best O-line in football. That O-line affords them moves all across their roster right now. Where, get this, you can't make a mistake, Xander. The Eagles are one of the only teams in this draft that will not make a mistake at 32 whatever they do. Why? Their quarterback and their O-line is set. Well, here, watch this. If they drafted a linebacker, you'd be shocked. But if it's the kid Campbell, you're okay. And I'm not suggesting it happens. If they took that Malachi Starks, you'd be like, wow, that's a shocker. But you could see it. If they took an edge, an old lineman, the only position probably you would be shocked is if you took a running back, would probably stun the shit out of you.
Well, they're not taking a running back.
No, but they can't make a mistake down there. It's the only team that can't. You know why? Their O-line is set.
Right.
That's it. Hey, I want to do one. You got time? One last thing here with you. All right. I wrote these down. The best offseason moves in the NFL. And I got them ranked. I only got 8 of them.
All right.
I got the Bengals #1 signing the contract extensions of Jamar Chase and T. Higgins to make Joe Burrow happy.
I'm not with you.
#2.
Number 1, wait, that's your best move of the offseason.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Okay, let's keep rolling.
#1 passing offense, #1 offense.
Do they have a line? Can they block?
You first got to make him happy. You're going to go in the O-line. You're going to go O-line in this draft.
Wait a second. You just bashed the Cowboys for taking a wide out because that's what they do, building the outside in. And you're going to tell the Bengals to build from the outside in to make Joe happy? What is he? A baby girl?
Joe's offense wasn't the problem a year ago.
So, exactly.
He threw for 5,000 yards. They need defense. Don't get that.
They need a lot more than defense too. They
were 28th. They were 28th in defense. Their offense is not the problem.
Yeah, but so didn't they just overpay T. Higgins? They're not going. What are they going to build their defense now?
But their offense was a problem since when?
I didn't say it was a problem, but now you've got 2 massive contracts for 2 wide receivers. How are you going to build a defense?
Then why do you have? Okay, well, wait a minute here. Let me say this: their offense is not a problem.
I know
your defense last year was #1. They've got to fix that defense.
But that's why it would have made sense to let T. Higgins walk so that you can improve the defense.
No, they're going to improve it in the draft. They're not going to go and draft. They're not going to go pick up free agents. That's not who they are.
I know that. They're definitely not going to do that.
But 2,
I'm just saying, you know, this is something that I understand we bash other teams about. And Joe Burrow needs 2 top wide receivers with no offensive line, with no defense. That team's not going to win shit. They'll never win a Super Bowl in Cincinnati for all that bullshit.
Hey, man, they won 9 games with the 28th ranked defense. I don't know. I mean, their offense, outside of running the ball a little more, they need to get a running back. Their offense was not an issue a year ago.
I know, but in 23 Sills, we had the #8 offense and the 30th ranked defense. And why did we go back? Because we added the wide receiver? No, because our defense got better.
I like they kept that tandem together, that threesome together. Bears, hiring of Ben Johnson. They need to have an offensive guy and not a defensive-minded guy. I don't know if Ben Johnson is going to be a superstar coach, but at least I know this. There's going to be an offensive skill set that's going to be a mindset where you're going to try to get that offense going. Hey, I can't remember the last time they hired an offensive coach. Matt Nagy, probably, right? Yeah. Was the last guy that they hired?
Probably, yep.
Again, I don't know if Ben's going to be a great coach, but I do know that Ben's at least an offensive guy. I've got the Rams signing Devontae Adams and putting Devontae Adams in Los Angeles with Matt Stafford and with Sean McVay. I think could that be an upgrade from Cooper Kupp? You got him now with Puka Nacua.
I could see that.
Some of the other skilled guys. I like that running. Even though the running back put the ball on the carpet, I think that is a good-looking look. You're going to hate this one. I got the Commanders with Debo and Laramie Tunsil. They got better. They may be older. They got better. Who? #2 and #3 wideout. They don't have one, nor did they have a left tackle a year ago. And they still got to get this, they got to the NFC Championship game with that team and that quarterback a year ago, not having a #2 wideout and a decent left tackle. Anything they have now with these guys will be an upgrade. You upgraded your #2 wideout and you upgraded your left tackle. I don't know how that's not a good move.
No, you're right. You're right. Because even if you don't like the Debo move, the objective truth is they got better. There's better. Even if you don't like Debo,
correct.
They had who'd they have? What was that guy's name?
The kid from the Eagles.
No, not him. Zacchaeus, but they also had who? What's his name? Damn, I'm blanking on his name. The guy who fumbled against the Eagles.
James Jones, if you're in here, tell us.
Shoot, what's his name?
I can't think of it either, man. I mean, that just tells you, though. You put Debo in there, and again.
Yeah, so even if you don't like Debo, it is an upgrade. Yeah, Brown, that's it, I think.
That's it. There you go.
De'Ami Brown, that's what it is. De'Ami Brown. Yeah, I guess you did get better, but my problem is I just don't think their resources were allocated the right way. I mean, I wouldn't have done it, but they're what's his name is super short term, so
Yeah, they're all. That's right.
right.
They're
If he doesn't work
short-term.
out, it's pretty easy to move on. I don't have too much of a problem with that. My biggest concern on the Commanders, or at least my question mark for them, not a concern, would be how does Jaden adjust? I'm not saying he's not a great dynamic player, but look, the NFL gets tape. That's what they do. That's how the league works. Ask any quarterback that comes in and has success as a rookie. Ask C.J. Stroud. Ask Jalen Hurts, who was in the MVP race in 22 and 23 came back. Things looked a little different. That's what the NFL does. How will Jaden evolve? How will he grow? How will he respond? That would be my biggest question about the Commanders.
Let me ask you this. How far of a step back do you think the defense takes, and how much do you think the Washington Commanders are in the room with them? If the Eagles are at 10, where do you think the Commanders are right now? They got better. They improved their roster, and there's more. How about this? So people don't get into a bind here. There's more questions now coming off of a Super Bowl than when you did even after the 23 season.
Right.
How close is that gap? I still think it's significant.
I think it's significant. I really do. I don't think it's as significant maybe as some think, but I do think it's pretty significant. I think you're a better team. I think right now you have the better coaching staff. I think you have a more experienced quarterback. Something you always say about Jalen Hurts that I love is he's a smart player. He works his way around the game exceptionally well. There is a feel to that is, not just quantified by stats, right? He knows the way a game is played. That's one of the reasons that he's so relentless, is because he understands, the moments of games. So I just think you have an overall, and by the way, I do think you're more talented. I mean, I like Terry McLaurin. I don't even dislike Debo that much. They're not A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith.
No.
I mean, Brian Robinson and their backs are decent players. They're not Saquon Barkley. Their offensive line is solid. Larry Tunsil's a solid player. He's not Lane Johnson or Jordan Mailata. So I think overall you are a more talented team by then pretty wide margin.
The only other tandem that I would put in the NFC would be Adams and Puka Nacua.
Yeah, they're good.
Where I would put that in a conversation where even their number 3 guy is pretty good. And their quarterback is a Super Bowl winning guy himself. So, I mean, you have I think probably in the NFC, that's where you would probably land, would be with the Rams. I do have Zach Bond on here. I think that was important for the Eagles to have a centerpiece that they ended up signing and getting him back in the building. This is going to sound crazy here, but I like the Broncos signing Drake Greenlaw. Follow me here. They gave him 3 years, $36 million, and $26 million guaranteed. And you want to hear something? He only played 34 snaps last year because he was coming off of that Achilles. I think you're going to see a better Dre Greenlaw, and I think that could be prediction here a little bit. I think that could be one of your surprise signs where you got a guy who was a good – because I thought prior to that injury, when he got injured, I thought Dre Greenlaw was a hell of a player for the Niners. And don't you think that was a significant factor in that Super Bowl loss? When that guy ended up going out, you even hear Mahomes on the sideline going, 55's out, 55's out. Right. And they went right at that. And they were able to climb back in that ball game.
Yeah, I agree.
He's a good football, and he's 26.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that.
I mean, what do you think has been the Eagles' number 1 move? Outside of Vaughn.
I mean, for being fair, they haven't really made a number 1 move, right? I mean, this is, people called it a maintenance offseason. I think it was Howie that dubbed that. He's right. I mean, seriously, what's the number 1 move they've made so far? Azeez Ojulari?
See, I said this yesterday, Xander. Just because you make volume moves doesn't mean you make quality moves. I don't really think they've been active in free agency whatsoever.
Yeah, well, I have a quality move that I view as quality that you might not. I think you made the right move in terms of letting $50 million of defensive players walk. And I know that might sound crazy because you're like, they're out the door, but this is not a team that needed to pay $50 million to those guys. Those guys, they're worth it to other teams. They weren't worth it to this team. So I think the maintenance of that was the right move. Now, Some of them I didn't love. CJ I thought was a little step further than I wanted to go, especially when your defense was as good as it was last year. I mean, how much different would our combos be right now if CJ was still back there and you were only looking at replacing, the guys in the defensive line? So I didn't love that move, but overall, I think they did the right moves. I mean, you got big contracts coming up. You can't pay all these dudes. If you pay everybody when the contract comes due, you're not gonna be in business very long. So I think what they did was good.
Okay. So let me ask you then this question: when you say that they did the right thing by moving off of those players, I'm not suggesting you're wrong. It's a conversation here. How instrumental in the overall season and in the Super Bowl do you think that defense was in what the Eagles did this past year in winning the Super Bowl? How on a scale of 1 to 10 would you say the importance of what that defense meant to the team winning the Super Bowl? Because I think they were better than the 22 unit, and they had 70 sacks. How important was that to you?
On a scale of 1 to 10, it would almost be crazy to not say 10. I mean, they were the number one. They were the reason that in the Super Bowl, when remember the offense, they started a little slow. They got that bad flag on the Eagles offense early, and the Chiefs got the ball back, stopped them. Boom, Eagles go up by 7. Then the pick 6 made it 17 to nothing or whatever it was. So that defense, man, was massive.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know how I could not say 10. I really don't.
A 10 to you.
9.5. How about that?
They rewarded Barkley for his season, right?
Yep.
By giving him a contract extension. So my question was, you say, I agree with them moving off of half the secondary. And now you did preface it by saying the CJ move and half the D line off of a unit that was instrumental in crossing the finish line. Remember something about Milton and Slay. You're right. Not Milton and Sweat. You're right. Are those guys top 5 guys? No. But on the number 1 ranked defense, their importance was instrumental in being able to go week to week and handing the ability for them to run the ball, be a little one-dimensional. And if you guys want to go down this line and say this, that the Eagle offense was a power running attack, and they did it in spite. And they did it because they didn't want to throw the ball. I mean, I've never heard that before, but hey, I guess if you want to land on that pod, you can. See, to me, when you get rid of and you move off the 27-year-old guys, that's not a winning formula. Okay? It's just not. Your objective, get this. How hard do you think it is to find a $26 million defensive tackle in the 3rd round or a $20 million edge rusher in the 4th round? And it's what you did.
We're about to find out, aren't we? Because they projected that they could do it. I mean, they could come up with at least something that would be enough for them to get over the top without having to spend that money. I'm not saying you're wrong. Traditionally, yeah, you would pay those guys. But the catch is we've drafted so good. Like, think about it. Our 3rd and 4th round picks are coming up. And if we don't sign them, we're like, what the hell? Like most teams, it's like, oh, did our 1st round pick earn another contract? Think about that. Everybody's earning other contracts in Philly. So because you've drafted so good, yeah, I'm not saying your conversation's not fair. I'm just saying they drafted so good. The solution to it can't be to pay everybody. You'd be screwed.
Okay, you're right. So let's go down that line. What if Nolan Smith gives you 6 sacks this coming season? Say he gives you 7.5.
Yeah, that's trouble. That's trouble. That's not going to be enough from Nolan Smith.
What's going to get Nolan Smith the contract extension?
I mean, 6 sacks is not going to be enough. Forget the contract for a second. That's not going to be enough for this football team on the field. I mean, whether you believe in Nolan or not, or I believe in Nolan or not, or anybody in the chat believes in Nolan or not, the truth is this team is relying on Nolan Smith this year. They let Josh Sweat walk. Nolan Smith is the guy.
I want to give people
even if they draft someone, Sills, Nolan Smith is the guy.
Yeah, that's right. I want to give people because let's not forget, it's one of the reasons why Bryce Huff was brought in is because they didn't think he was the guy. Let me put this out there too. Everyone gave Hassan Reddick a ton of shit for having a hand injury. You know, I hear John talking about Bryce Huff and all this. Well, he was injured. Hassan Reddick had 11 and a half sacks with a cast on in the first 4 games of the year, his final year in Philly. And that constituted as a shitty year for him because he had a shitty coordinator and the whole thing blew up, but he still had 11 and a half sacks. That was a down year for him. You can't have a down year for Hassan Reddick and turn around and go like this if you're the Eagles and Nolan Smith gives you 8 sacks and go, hey, look at Nolan. That's not good enough. I mean, you've been lesser at the edge position since Reddick if you don't get higher. That guy gave you 30 sacks counting the postseason in 2 years.
No, I know.
You have not replaced that.
But here's the thing, I especially in this defense, like I don't think Vic Fangio would have liked Reddick.
No.
Even with the sacks.
Because you know why? He didn't like Huff.
Yeah, exactly.
So
the point is like, the thing about the defensive linemen on this team and this defense with Vic is they have to fit the scheme. They have to be able to play multiple downs. They have to be more versatile than just say, hey, go get me 12 sacks or whatever the case might be. They have to be better than that. They have to be a more well-rounded player for this defense to thrive because Josh Sweat might have not been as productive as we wanted him to be last year, but he certainly was an every down player. And even Nolan Smith was late in the year. Brandon Graham was early in the year before he got injured. Nolan, I think, will be. My question on him is durability. You always do that thing where you take the pencil and you go like this and, you get a smaller pencil, that pencil's going to break quicker. So, that's my question on Nolan. But all them dudes, man, they all have to be more versatile players.
Absolutely, man. You're not going to not get away with that there if you don't have the versatility in your D-line. I'm not sure we have any supers. Guys, do me a favor.
We got one.
All right, let's get to that one here. Hey, guys, do me a favor. Please hit that like button. We appreciate you guys so much. Hey, man, by the way, real quick, what'd you make of the national title game last night? I thought it was 2 gags in a row.
Good game. Not how I expected it to end. I mean, that Houston defense is so good.
Yeah.
It shocks you because the modern basketball game has changed so much, even at the college level in the last decade, that you don't see defense like that. So I love that about the Houston team. I love fundamentals. I love boxing out. I love getting rebounds. I love those things. But they didn't have – it was too little for them. They didn't get enough points on the offensive side of the board. They went cold at the wrong time. Florida got hot at the right time. And by the way, I thought as good as that coach was all tournament long, all year long, all game long, I thought he shit the bed in the last 5 minutes. I thought they were out-coached in the last 5 minutes, and I thought Florida made the shots they needed to make. Shout out to the Gators for getting it done.
Can I tell you what I thought the difference was? I love Kelvin Sampson. I think he's a really great coach, and I think he's revitalized the Houston Cougar program. He came over from Indiana after a shitty experience there with him. They blew him out over text messages and all that. At the end of the day, though, you're dead right. I think the Southeastern Conference tournament and the regular season of the SEC, I think absolutely prepared him for him to go into that tournament with 2 minutes left. How many 2-minute games did they have at the end of the year? Did the Gators have? The same thing happened in the SEC title game for them. I thought they were just better prepared for the tighter moments.
I agree. It's a good takeaway. Here's a super chat. By the way, no yelling at Stevie today, all right?
I can't. I know.
It's a dog week, all right? There's no yelling at Stevie. Stevie,
you hear that? Xander's giving you a pass here today.
I'm giving you the pass, Stevie boy. Don't let him. In fact, you'll be giving Stevie an extra treat tonight on there. All right. Kyle Kokorski says, Sills and Xander, I think Browns draft Abdul Carter, then they trade Garrett for picks. Nah, they're not trading Garrett. What are you trading Garrett for? He just gave him a massive deal.
They're not doing any of that. But how about this? Abdul Carter and Myles Garrett on one side of each other, pass rushing. Jim Schwartz would be in heaven if you ended up doing shit like that.
Yeah.
And you put Abdul Carter on that side of the ball.
That's true.
All right. Hey, Big Z, that Heat down there in South Florida, how you handling it?
I'm good, bro. I'm good. I like the Heat. Now, here's the thing, though. The heat down here is a different heat. It really is. Because I'm a heat guy, but I'll stay outside all day when it's warm out at home. But down here, it's different, man. You put on a t-shirt, go for a little walk. I mean, I was outside shooting hoops today, just getting my, clearing my mind a little bit. I'm like, fuck, man, I got to go in, man. I'm dying out here. I'm panting. I'm weak. I'm, all these things. So now it's hot, but it feels good. It feels good to be down here. And I think it's pretty cold back home right now this week. So it's good. It's good that I'm down here.
Bro, I told you, man, when I first got down there, man, I called my pop and I go like this. I go, no, I got to come home. He goes, well, you come home, you go in the Army. And I said, he goes, well, I thought you loved it when you went down there for your visit in February. I go, yeah, wait, February, January visits. The weather was nice. I get down there in September. Xander, I had a pair of jeans on. And you remember those flannel shirts you wear? I got down there, man. I started having tit sweat like you wouldn't believe.
I had tit sweat. I can't imagine what your tit sweat was.
Oh, my. Well, back then I had 11% body fat. Today
That's true. You were ripped.
Yeah, I was ripped. So today it would be disgusting. Back then I'm like, oh, my God, man. I mean, it was such bad weather. I can't believe that I played in that kind of weather. And you see the kind of advantage you get when you had – hey, man, Tuscaloosa's hot, too, in the summer.
Yeah, no, Tuscaloosa. And by the way, I lived in Houston for 2 years, too. Houston's hot. Houston's hot as hell. So no, I'm used to the heat. But now you come down here and you haven't been here in a little bit.
You know this, Andrew. I'm sending my love to you, man. Because
appreciate you, bro. Appreciate everybody. Great show, Sills. I'll catch you tomorrow. All right, my man.
You got it. That is our friend Xander Krause. We appreciate him. Do me a favor, guys. Please hit that like button. Also, I have some bold predictions 2.0 that we're going to get to. We're going to go back over some of the offseason moves. We'll hit on that. How about this, too? We'll talk a little bit more about the Bryce Huff situation with the Chargers. We'll do that. Also, Bruce Arians, he will join us at 5:30 Eastern time. We appreciate all of you guys. Please hit the like button. Don't forget our great friends at Morgan & Morgan. They are the #1 injury law firm in the country. They have a track record that speaks for themselves. Over $26 million recovered for people in America that have been swindled by insurance companies. This is what Morgan & Morgan does. John Morgan and Ultima Morgan built this franchise over 25 years ago. I've been involved with them the entire time. Here in Pennsylvania, a family was offered $650K from an insurance company. They went in with their thousands of attorneys and said, no way, got nearly $30 million in recovery for that respected family. Down in Florida, family had an offering from an insurance claim of $350K. No way. Morgan & Morgan went in and got nearly $12 million in recovery. Look at what's going on out in California. All the people that lost their homes. Morgan & Morgan is in there making sure every single one of those folks that lost their homes, that were not insured, that insurance companies claim that they canceled them. Morgan & Morgan is getting some reparations back for those folks in California. They go across the country, wherever you are in the country, Morgan & Morgan is there. So do me a favor, if you're ever injured, please check out my friends at Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com/big sales or pound law 529. That's forthepeople.com/big sales, pound law 529. And do me a favor, you tell them Big Sales sent you.
This is Eric. When he got injured in a car accident, he called Morgan & Morgan. He not only gets a lawyer, he gets trial lawyers like Sam and Jessica who are in it to win it. He gets his own investigators with briefcases, leather ones. And if you ever have questions, our customer service folks keep things rolling. Injured? We're your army. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
Your financial future is on the line. Are you ready for what's next? At Leone & Company Wealth Management, we help young professionals, business owners, and pre-retirees navigate the complexities of building and protecting wealth. For young professionals, we'll help you grow your wealth, plan for your future, and make the most of your hard-earned dollars. For business owners, we provide strategies to protect your company, manage risks, and create a lasting legacy for both your business and personal wealth. For pre-retirees, we'll design a plan to secure your retirement, ensuring you can live comfortably and confidently in your next chapter. Whether you're just starting out, managing a thriving business, or preparing for retirement, we're here to help you take control of your financial future. The first consultation is on us. Get the advice you need without the cost. Let's make your financial vision a reality. Take the next step. Scan the QR code to schedule your free consultation today. And of course, go Birds.
Field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
In our hometown, we all look out for each other. We step up to keep our communities going strong. And at Independence Blue Cross, we're here to keep you going strong as the #1 health insurer in the region. No IBX is always looking out for you.
EAGLES. Eagles.
Big Show's National Football Show. Appreciate you guys coming aboard. So the numbers came in for the women's final in the national championship game between UConn and South Carolina. 8.5 million people watched it. The year previous, 18.9 watched South Carolina, Iowa with Caitlin Clark. Don't tell me that Caitlin Clark is not the needle mover. Angel Reese. Okay? Same teams. One player was missing, and it's Caitlin Clark. Why? She's great. She's white. She is something new. Just like Larry Bird and Magic Johnson and what they brought to women's basketball. Look at a WNBA. It's the first year they were profitable in 32 years. This is a prime example of race selling, especially when it's in a good context. I mean, there's nothing wrong with this. You had a white chick that was great, okay? It brought white America in to watch the WNBA and women's college basketball. There's nothing wrong with that. But people want to make it and villainize that. And you know what happened is that the majority of the African-American women were against that America was rooting for a white chick. Who cares? It raised your value and it created more of an economic windfall for you, more advertisers, more ability to see the great black players in the WNBA. Don't be assholes. Use that ignorance of America against them. Why are you fighting something that's helping you? It makes no sense. Well, you're rooting for a white chick. So what? Did it make me more money? Yes, great. Why does that have to be adversarial? The news people sell hundreds of millions of dollars doing that at the end of the day. Okay? It's a great way for everyone to get great exposure, more money. It's a great opportunity. So many people, though, they miss what the real end result is. It's opportunity to make more money and more visibility. That's the key to this. 18.9 a year ago. Watch the women's final. By the way, I love Angel Reese too. I love the shit talker she is. Beautiful, phenomenal. You should do everything in your power if you're the WNBA to make that thing look like burning magic. And I think they're trying to do it now. I love it. I mean, don't tell me 8.5 watch the finals. You got a gold mine in both Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark. Use it. All right. I got a comment here, and this is going to be different on the Tush push. I don't get this, and no one is reporting it. So, Alan Sills, the doctor, the head chief examiner for the NFL, has come out recently in the recent NFL owner meetings and said that he thinks the play might be dangerous and that the league needs to look into whether or not down the line that this could cause CTE. Okay? Right? So they're trying to scare you into head trauma conversation to end the play, right? How in the world and how arrogant and how not responsible are you for having your doctor come out, the NFL, and have no conversations with the NFL Players Association's doctors, and you make that broad statement saying that that play might be an injury play that could cause severe damage down the line? How in the world do you get to make that assessment without a second opinion? This is why I don't trust any fucking doctor that works for an NFL team that sits there and takes care of players. It's a one-sided conversation. How in the do you really believe the NFL, with no intel and with absolutely no evidence that that tush-push play causes any kind of head trauma and no one's been hurt, comes out and makes a broad statement that that play may cause head injuries? And that, get this, here's people that don't believe CTE actually exists in the NFL, but they're telling you that this play might? And you haven't conferred with the NFL Players Association or the players' doctors yet. I found out that the Players Association hasn't been contacted by the league in any way about this play. They just came out and made a fucking random statement. I mean, if you were a player today, how is that not a conflict of interest? Do you really believe, if you're an Eagle player, that the league has your best interest when your doctors haven't even been asked and they make a broad statement like that? I mean, hey, look, I think that play's illegal. Well, let me talk to my doctors and let me get what they say about it. That's why you collectively bargain shit. Man, the media in our country is owned. It is owned. For you not to get a second opinion and ask the NFL Players Association head chief of staff himself. I asked the players, has the league come to you? No. They have not given us any intel or any direction in the tush push. They're lying. Pat's right. Pat's right. It is a witch hunt. I mean, you're making shit up. Put Dallas Goedert and Saquon Barkley's helmet on Hurts' thighs, wedge block. It's similar to the tush push. Dude, the only way that the Eagle goal line play is not going to work is if you ban the O-line. The Eagle O-line is exceptional. It's just exceptional. The quarterback is great at the play. Hey, let me ask you something. How come the NFL didn't have a problem when Brady was running that play? And now that the Eagles are running it, they got a problem with it. They didn't have a problem with Tom Brady was successful at it. Would you not agree with me that Tom Brady probably ran the tush push play better than any other quarterback next to Jalen Hurts in NFL history? How many 1-yard plays did Brady get to extend series? How many times did Brady use the quarterback sneak to get that first down? He was exceptional at it. Every time they had 4th and 2, 4th and 1, Tom Brady would run the quarterback sneak and he would get it. All of a sudden, Brady's out of the league. The Eagles develop a system where they can run that same play. All of a sudden, now it's a problem. Now it's a problem? Why? Why is it a problem? I think it's awful funny that the most successful program in NFL history, the Patriots with Brady, and now all of a sudden a team that's starting to get great success runs the same play. Don't you find that to be kind of ironic? Shit, Mahomes ran that play too until he got hurt in that Tennessee game. Right? Sue's right. They never questioned it when Mahomes was doing it. I'm just saying. Mahomes and Brady do it. Nobody says a word. The Eagles do it. And Jalen Hurts. And they master that play. I'm going to ask Bruce Arians about that play. If he thinks it's a football play. That'll be at 5:30. Senior executive of the Buccaneers, Super Bowl winning coach, who actually likes Jalen. Get this. They're cool with the play being defined with Mahomes and Brady. How ironic is it, though, that the three most successful, would we not agree, the three most successful football teams in the last 27 years has been the Patriots, the Chiefs, and the Eagles, and they all ran the same play. I hadn't thought about that until we talked it out here. All three, would we not agree? Those are the three most successful teams in the NFL in the last 27 years. Brady, Mahomes, and now Hurts. And they all ran the same play. But for some reason now, it's a problem in Philly. When did they come to that conclusion? Because they probably rationalized it out like I did before I did, that play has something to do with sustained success. And they want to get that play out. Or guess what? The Eagles are going to go on to be kind of a dynasty like the Chiefs and the Eagles or the Patriots. Yeah, but Sue, Buffalo does run it. Sue, let me throw something at Sue here with that. Sue, let me show you something. And you're right. Let me look at this. And what Sue's saying here. Sills, doesn't the Bills run this play? Well, Sue, let me ask you, and you tell me. I just said here, Sue, that the three most successful teams, Patriots, Chiefs, and Eagles, run the play, right? Okay. You tell me, Sue, if you think this is successful. In the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, here's Buffalo's record. 13-3, 12-5, 13-3, 12-5, 13-4. So, I know they haven't won championships, but would you say they're successful? And they run that play too? Wouldn't you put that in there too? That they run that play? League wants to get rid of that play because all the teams with success are having great success using it to sustain drives. If the Eagles did nothing but tush push 17 games of the year, it would piss Goodell off. Let me tell you something. I think that football team could run 20 of those tush push plays in a game, and they would win. If their defense was good, like it was a year ago, they would win. Okay? Yeah. McDermott's pitching because you know why? McDermott's pitching about it because it hasn't led to the same success as the Eagles or the Patriots, and to some extent the Chiefs. And why is that? Because they're not as good at front office. So remember this. They run the same play. They have an electric quarterback, but the front office doesn't do the right things. They still got salary cap issues. The Patriots had a great formula in how they drafted players, how they found free agents, the same way as the Chiefs and now the Eagles. What's the one thing Buffalo can't do like the Patriots, Chiefs, and Eagles? They don't run their organization like the Eagles and Chiefs and the Patriots do. They're horrible front office people. You're in salary cap hell because you don't have a dynamic GM who understands contracts and salary cap. And this is why, at the end of the day, that the Philadelphia Eagles, the Chiefs, remember, they have the coaching, they have the front office, they have the player development guys, they have the assistant coaches in all three of those places. They don't have that in Buffalo. How many people think Sean McDermott's a good coach? I don't. I think he's okay. I think they need an upgrade. Like when I look at Nick Sirianni, would I rather have Nick Sirianni or Sean McDermott? Now, you want Sean McDermott as my D coordinator? I'm probably in. That's my head coach. I don't want him. You think Sean McDermott's getting the best out of Josh Allen? I don't. I would love to have seen Jim Harbaugh up there. I mean, I don't see it. I think Joe Brady's a good coordinator. Kyle Shanahan and Josh Allen would be electric. Sean McDermott and Josh Allen is oil and water. I don't see it. Says, I hate to the fact that Goodell is such a coward and using the phony diagnosis and kisses butt so he doesn't look bad. That's totally true, man. Blaine, he's falling on the sword for the other owners because the owners want that play out. And get this, most people don't want to come out publicly and say, I want to play out. You know why? Because they can't come to the grips that they have to be as cowardly to say that they want to play. Me, if that was a head coach or I was a player in this league, I would never want to vote that play out. You know why? You're doing something that we can't stop. That's a me issue, not an Eagle issue. If I can't stop that, then that's us not stopping it. Don't let them get in fucking 4th and 1. If you want to, you know how you want to stop the tush push play? Keep them at a 4th and 1. Do your job. Now the NFL's giving out hall passes. Well, we can't stop the play, so you know what we're going to do? We're just going to take it away. Holy shit, you sound like people in our government or political parties. You can't get your way? Let me change something. How fucking un-American is that? I want to earn that play to not be effective against me. You know how I earn it? By playing harder, doing my job, front office, coaching, player execution. Taking a play away from the game is an insult to every guy who's ever put a uniform on. It's embarrassing. I would be embarrassed if I played for Sean McDermott or Matt LaFleur and I heard those guys bitching like that. I'd be like, come on, man. I have to do better. Hey, you know why Americans and you know why American sports fans come to the NFL? Because it used to be so cool that we couldn't change the scoreboard like you can in an election, or you tried to in an election. You try to tell people, hey, you stole the election, you stole this, you stole that election, you stole 16, you stole 20. It's on both sides. You know what you can't do? You don't steal games. You either win or you don't. You saw it play at a national title game. Team played great last night. For what? What'd they play? They played great for about 38 minutes. And then the Gators took it from them because you had to play 40. Oh, well, that's sports. I mean, Jesus, man. Hey, you know what? Since I can't stop the play, can you please have somebody take it away from them? The most unfootball thing you can ever tell a player is some shit like that. How embarrassing. Bruce Arians will join us at the bottom of the hour. You talk about tough guys. There's one for you. A Super Bowl winning head coach is going to join us. That'll be at 5:30 Eastern. It's embarrassing. Coming up with head injuries and all kinds of bullshit. Still's in the playoffs. Sean makes the Bills kick the extra point and field goal. They win the game. Hey, Samuel, he is not a good head coach. Plain and simple. And the only guy that keeps that guy employed is Josh Allen. He is not good enough for that player. It won't be Josh Allen not delivering a Super Bowl in Buffalo. It'll be because the Buffalo Bills didn't put the right coach with that player. Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts are the right combo. Andy Reid and Mahomes are the right combo. Sean McVay and Matthew Stafford are the right combo. If you don't have that dynamic together, you're not winning. I don't care who you are. How many people think Sean Payton and Bo Nix are the right combo? Really? Really? The narrative of the Eagle fans is a black eye to the NFL. Yeah, just like your Flyers were back in the day when they were gooning people. They don't like that you're tougher than people. Plain and simple. You know what a goal line play means to me? Let me tell you this. This is what you do at the end of a week. And your head coach comes to you and goes, goal line. You know what that means? Let's go lace it up. You ever hear of a thing called the Oklahoma drill? They don't do that nowadays. You know why? Because you're soft. They would have a guy like myself playing defense. They'd have an offensive lineman. They would have a running back, sometimes a fullback. And what I had to do, I was great at this drill. I had to defeat the guy in front of me. I had to tackle that inside of two bags that were set up, two practice dummies. And you had this little space where I played. And I had to kill that guy in front of me. And I had to put that running back behind the pads down on the ground. It's called Oklahoma drills. And I loved that drill. I was great at that drill. And you can't do that today because, well, I don't know. Okay? I don't know. Sure. Safety. All right. Let me shake that off. You want to know why you can't stop the play? Because of your stupid practices. You're not able to go full practice in camp any longer. And you don't fundamentally have guys who know how to stop that play. That play has been instituted in this league for 100 years. What's different now? Players aren't trained to stop that any longer. You don't have practices that play goal line drills. You don't do that. You have limited contact drills now. And you're not prepared to defend that play. And the Eagles know that. Figure this out. You barely have enough practice time to develop offensive tackles and pass protection. Why do you think it takes those guys until their early 30s and into their mid-30s before they master that technique? Well, because they don't get the practice time they used to back in the day. Why do you think tackling is an issue today? Because they don't practice it. Why do you think they can't stop goal line plays? Because they don't practice it. The Eagles practice it. They make it a fundamental thing to stop that play or make sure people can't stop it because they practice it. I mean, Rolo goes, certain plays can't be stopped in a classroom. That's right. You've got to be physical on the field in practice to do that. Do you know how many, every practice almost that I had, we would end with goal line. They don't do that today. They got 25-minute practices, and they're back in the shed. How are you going to stop that play when you have no way and no time to practice it? You're not going to, you know what? Teams are not going to sit here on a game week against the Eagles and 2 practices you think you're going to stop that play. That takes time, effort, practice time. That's why you can't stop it. Because you know why? The NFL's not set up to stop it, and they know that. That's why they want to ban it. Because that would go back to more teams having to practice that during the week, take away from offensive skilled guys on being able to throw the plus 25 plays. Don't you see what's happened here? Teams don't practice that play because they don't have time to practice it. That's why they can't stop it. The goal line play has been instituted in the NFL for over 100 years, like I said. What's changed? Practice set skills. You don't practice stopping that play anymore. You could easily stop that play if you put the time and effort in. And game week against the Eagles is not going to happen. 4 practices. Okay? 4 practices is not going to stop that play. That's why they want to ban that thing. Say whatever you want, but that's not ever going to be out of the game until they pull the plug on the game, on that play. You know, we like I said, we've had that play for fucking ever in the NFL. And now all of a sudden we can't stop it. Why? Because you don't put the effort in to stop it. I mean, Seals next are going to try to ban cover 2 because the Eagles are good at it. Too high. It's bad TV. Yeah. Because they want high explosion plays, and the Eagles put everything in front of them and keep everybody in front of them. Absolutely true. Okay? Absolutely. All right. Real quick here before I get to some of my takeaways on the NFL so far this offseason, I'm going to tell you guys a story. I'm going to show you about coaching. And I think Nick's got a lot of this. I'm talking Nick Sirianni. So we're not allowed. I'm not allowed to really say many things that happened behind the scenes with Jimmy Johnson and how some of the stuff went on in Dallas and how some of the things went on with Michael Irvin. But Michael broached it. And I tweeted a story out, and I'll tell you guys. When Michael Irvin got to the Miami Hurricanes, it was right after Howard Schnellenberger had left. Michael Irvin was one of the roughest, dare I say, ghetto guys I ever met. He was just, for whatever reason, he and I always hit it off. I always loved him. We're sitting having lunch, and Jimmy said something to him. Michael Irvin got up and hit Jimmy over the head with his lunch tray and hit him 3 times with it. I was right there for it. Hit Coach Johnson in the back of the head 3 times. We all got up. I was like, I'd never seen anything like this. So I go back, and I was for sure he was going to send Michael Irvin home and throw him off the team. Jimmy didn't. This story's rarely ever told. He hit Coach Johnson pretty good with that lunch tray. Like, Coach went to the ground. And I was right there. I couldn't believe it. We all couldn't. There he is in practice the next day. We were all like this. Coach Johnson wasn't going to let that situation ruin that kid's life. Michael told me years later, he sat him down and he goes, "Do you want to go back to nothing? Or do you want me to use the fuel that you had with me yesterday to turn you into one of the greatest players in the history of the sport? Just channel it." Michael couldn't believe what he was saying. Fast forward. Jimmy went on a recruiting trip. We were down in the, I posted this. We were down in the weight room. And George Myra Jr., I'm telling you the George Myra Jr. story, was a linebacker for us. His dad was a legendary quarterback. And we were in the weight room, and, I don't really give a shit what music's played. George wanted country. Michael wanted rap. Of course, there's going to be an incident. And there was. Pushing match came up. Jimmy wasn't around. He was on a recruiting trip. Gary Stevens was our offensive coordinator. He was in charge of us. We went up to the team meeting room, and it's tiered. Goes up. So George is sitting next to me. Michael's over here to my left. By the way, I love both guys. And I'm sitting there, and, he said, "We got to be together." This was right after we got beat by the Penn State in the Fiesta Bowl. Things were kind of crazy still. And so there was a big pushing match. I didn't think it was a big deal. I'm sitting in the front row. I'm fucking watching this, and all of a sudden, Gary Stevens gets done with it. And he gets up. Michael Irvin goes like this. Hey, George, man, my bad. George put his hand up. Michael Irvin went like this, right in front of me, broke his jaw. Boom. Bang. Cracked the other side of his face, hitting the ground so hard. Jumped on him. We all kind of separated him. Broke him up. George got drafted by the Niners, I think. And I remember sitting back going, "That's the greatest one punch I've ever seen." It was right near me. This is the kind of what I'm talking about, coaching and teammates. We were crazy effers. Michael Irvin comes up to me, goes, "Hey, man, you were in there. What side are you on?" I'm not on anybody's side. I'm a Hurricane. I love both of you. You need to fix this shit. Here, Mike, that guy's your brother. We're going to need that dude. You can't be doing that shit. What's wrong with you? He looked at me and he goes, I go, dude, I'm not against you. He's stupid for the music shit. You're stupid for hitting him. You need to fix this. And that's how Jimmy came back. Holy cow. You would have thought Moses parted the seas. He ran us for 4 weeks, 10 hours. And he had no mercy. You guys want to fight? Tell you what we're going to do. We're going to struggle and suffer together. Man, I was thinking of Xander down in that weather. It was brutal. I'd never been exhausted and thrown up more in my life. He goes, you want to act like this? All of you, I'll send every one of your effing asses home. I don't give a shit. And I'll tell you, that guy you see on Twitter, when I tell you guys, that shit you see on TV with him, that ain't the same dude, man. He tolerated none of it. And he got us back into the room. And he told us, he goes, every one of you in here are going to be legendary. Every one of you. Follow me. And we did. And we were. And we are. They make more movies, write books, lists over the Jimmy Johnson Hurricanes than any team in college football history. It's because of what that guy did as coaching. He saw a guy like Michael Irvin or me. He didn't see lost causes. He saw opportunities. That's coaching. That's coaching. I mean, Anthony, Michael was a very troubled and hard to get around guy when he was younger. But he's my brother for over 40 years. I posted a bunch of pictures of us. I love the guy. Seriously, like he's my blood brother. When you're in a locker room like that, and you got a coach that you know, let me tell you the key about coaching for a player's perspective. I hate bullshit artists. And the coaches that are great don't do that. You know what they do? This is where you are in the totem pole of life in my room. That's what it was with Jimmy. And a guy that I have great respect for, I think has that same mentality. Hey, this is where you go right now, my friend. I can't believe this guy is retired, though. How in the world could Bruce Arians be retired? I mean, Jesus Christ, these guys, but you know what? Maybe life is too good for him now. He's down in that heat. He's traveling around. He won his Super Bowl. I don't know. I talked to Derek Brooks the other day. I go, what's he doing? And he's like, hey, man, he's just enjoying life. Let me bring in Bruce Arians now. Coach, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing good, Stills. How you doing, baby?
You tell me, Coach, man, how is retirement life treating you?
Oh, it's fantastic. Spent a lot of time with the grandkids, doing some traveling, and just enjoying life, bro. It was time for me to step out.
Do you ever get the itch, Coach? I mean, do you want to get back into it? I mean, I had Frank Reich on the other day, and when I talked to him about getting back into it, Coach, it's such a mental grind on you guys. I mean, and what you guys do for a regular game, let alone a 17-game season, and then if you're hoping to get to the postseason, it's so taxing mentally. Is that kind of what it is? You don't mind coaching on Sundays, Coach, but the other stuff, that's really where it kind of wears you out.
No, not for me, because I had a great staff, bro. I leaned on them heavily, and for me, it was more physical. I tore my Achilles like 90% that last year and had to wear these damn high heel boots on the sidelines and blew my back out. And I can't stand on the sideline for 4 hours anymore. Even that last year, I'd go sit like I was acting like I was talking to the quarterbacks just to sit down. But no, it was more physical. I love the players. I do miss the players. I stayed after that next year and went to practice every day. And they got thrown off the sidelines down in New Orleans. And I was like, okay, I think it's time for me to get out. Plus, too many players looking at me, not at Todd. So, hey, it's Todd's team now. So I stepped back and I go to practice. I was down there this weekend, saw some of the guys, and we'll have a fundraiser in May down there. So I still get to see my guys, and that's all I need.
Coach, for you, what did you enjoy more, being a position coach or being a head coach? Because you get more time with your guy. If you're a quarterback, you get to spend time like you were in Pittsburgh with your quarterback. Did you enjoy that? Or did you enjoy more running your own show?
Kind of both. Yeah, I miss the room. You have your room and your responsibilities for those guys, and it's a close-knit group. As a head coach, I got to interact more with defensive players, special teams guys, and I always leaned on my veterans. I always told them, this is not my team, it's your team. We'll be as good as you want to be. How good are the leaders we got? That's how good we'll be. And so I got to Jason Pierre-Paul, I love him to death. Ndamukong Suh, Lavonte David, one of the best there is. And I got to really hang with those guys some and get their perspective, on where our team was, and really leaned on them heavily.
Coach, what did that Super Bowl win as a head coach? You had won Super Bowls as a position coach in Pittsburgh. You've been a coach of the year, I believe, when you're in Indianapolis there as well. You had a great run in Arizona. What did that Super Bowl do for you? Was it the crowning achievement for you? Was it the cherry on top of everything? You knew then, you kind of saw the back nine of your coaching career. What did that game mean to you when you finally won that ring?
Yeah, it was special. I mean, the other two were all my dad got to go to Super Bowl 40. He died shortly after. And but Mom got to go to the Super Bowl 55 and sit up in the stands. And she just turned 100 last 2 weeks ago, and she's got her $100 jersey, and she don't take it off. And, so it means the world. The Glazer family was so great to our family, and I love the Bucks, and but that was the crowning achievement. I had to go for two, got real close, and we didn't make it, and then I saw it was time.
Coach, are you a Steeler, a Colt, Cardinal, or are you a Buck? I know you're a Tech man. I know you're a Hokie, but are you? I mean, NFL, what identifies you? If you had to say, my experience that identifies me, is it the Steeler coordinator or is it the Buccaneer head coach?
Buccaneer head coach. Yeah, those years were fantastic, and great group of guys, great staff. We won the Super Bowl. We get to real close to next year, and going back to Tampa, it's very, very special for me and my wife and the whole family. And we're Bucks, baby, Bucks and Hokies. Always a Hokie.
Always a Hokie here. Coach, how proud of you of Baker Mayfield are you and what you've seen him go through? I mean, I bring this up all the time to people in Cleveland. I go, I think you'd like to have that kid back now after what went on here with the last couple of years there with the QB situation. But you got to be awful proud of what you're seeing here with Mayfield.
Yeah, that was one of my last decisions, to get with Jason and let's go after this. I love this kid. When I was with CBS that 1 year, I did 2 other games, went to practice on Friday. That locker room loved that kid. I mean, loved him. And the way he competed on the Friday practice, like, man, this is my kind of guy. And I knew it's not easy following Tom Brady, but he's the type of guy that can do it. And he's won that team over. He's won the city over. I mean, he owns the city right now, and rightfully so. He's played his ass off.
Coach Todd Bowles. I mean, I am a huge Todd Bowles fan. I mean, funny, I was watching the Super Bowl and people were saying this to me. They go, hey man, isn't Fangio running that Todd Bowles too high safety? Isn't that Todd Bowles' defense? I mean, and by the way, he's been the kryptonite to the Eagles the last 2 times that they've played. I mean, he's run them out of the building. How proud of you are you of him taking over that role for you and where he is right now in his coaching career?
Super, super proud, man. I knew he'd do the job. He didn't really have a shot in the Jets. but he needed that second chance and to prove to everybody that he's the quality coach that he is. And I mean, what they went through with all those injuries last year, still won a division, got real close to going on. I would have loved to have played Philly again, and because our guys are not afraid of Philly, that's for sure.
Absolutely here, man. Hey, what happened with that Liam Cohen situation? I mean, to me, it was really looked like a train wreck on his end, not so much on the Buccaneers' end, but were you disappointed on how that thing ended the way it did?
Not really. I mean, you only get a chance to be a head coach. You might never get another chance. And, the way it happened, that's typical NFL. I think word got to them that he wasn't coming with the general manager, so they fired the general manager. And all of a sudden, whoop, yeah, the whole thing's changed now. And I don't blame him one bit, man. I'm pulling for him. He did a hell of a job for the Bucs. And, I think he'll do a good job for the Jags.
I want to ask you a couple more questions here, Coach, especially on Vic Fangio. Vic plays that too high safety. And do you agree, Coach, that the game today is just played more in space, that you don't see the Levon Kirkland type linebackers that you and I did back in the day, where you had those big 255, 260-pound guys sitting there in the middle with that zone? Everything's more in space today. Do you think that's just a product of the NFL with what they're looking to do with plus 25 explosion plays, is that you play that too high safety, keep everything in front of you because the game is so spread out now? Do you agree with that?
Yeah, a lot of it. But, I mean, if your front four can't get home, that too high safety ain't worth a shit. I mean, the quarterback will pick you apart. But they got a front four like we did back then that got after it. And, I mean, my only prediction going into the Super Bowl is if they could pressure Mahomes like we did, then they're going to win. And they really did from start to finish.
Were you surprised, Coach, on how they handled Kansas City, the Eagles?
No. I once I saw the pass rush take over, and they got 8 guys that could swing in there. And Vic's a hell of a coach. We go way back to Indianapolis together and even New Orleans. But so yeah, I was really happy for him. Really happy for Nick. I think Nick's a great student of the game and has great pride in the game. So yeah, I was really happy for him.
What about Jalen Hurts, Coach? I mean, there's such a last year he threw for 2,903, 2,903 yards. They were 30th in passing, but yet, Coach, they were dominant at the point of attack with Saquon Barkley. I mean, it just shows you a little bit of the incompetence of the team that the Giants didn't put around him, because when he got to Philly and that O-line, that guy looked like Barry Sanders running the ball. I couldn't believe how great he looked with that O-line. Not a shocker, I guess, but when you look at Hurts, I mean, he turned it on. NFC title game, Super Bowl, he was outstanding. He's reading his progressions. It seems a little bit better. What do you make of him, and what do you think of him as a quarterback?
I think first of all, he's an extremely hard worker, and he's improved so much as a passer, playing in the pocket, trying to figure out blitzes and how to handle blitzes. I still think there's a lot of room for development on 3rd down and 2 minute, where most games are won in the NFL. They played with the lead so much. And if he got the lead now, you're not getting him, because he can do his play action. He can run, Saquon. I mean, you got the whole package when they got the lead. You got to get ahead of them and make them play from behind and see if they can handle the blitz.
Coach, do you think we're going to see a couple more here, Coach? Do you think that we're going to see more of those styles of players? Frank Reich said something yesterday that, and I wonder if you agree still, and I think so too, that you're going to win Super Bowls. You got to win from the pocket. I don't care what you do in space. You've got to win from that pocket, because that's the way you're going to win Super Bowls. But with that versatile quarterback, like you see up in Buffalo or you see in Baltimore, with guys that can get out into the perimeter, guys that can be a part of the run game, is that something we're going to see more of as these kids come out of college, in your opinion?
Yeah, I think that's the type of guy that's coming out of college. Now, can that guy play from the pocket? And I'm all with Frank, baby. You got to win it from the pocket. The Bradys, the Mannings, those guys, they don't come around very often. Then there was Andrew Luck, he was that guy who was very athletic, but could beat you from the pocket. And Big Ben, those type of guys. So I think college football is turning out more and more quarterbacks and more pocket guys that can play from the pocket, and they're still athletic. Patrick Mahomes didn't run a great 40. He's a bitch to get on the ground, though.
Yeah,
he can run, but he's running to throw. And to me, that's a quarterback. The ones that run to run. If you put your quarterback in harm's way, enough harm's coming.
Coach, I want to ask you about a couple quarterbacks. Josh Allen, give me your assessment of him. I see all the intangibles. I think Brady's done a really nice job with him. They've settled him down on not having to really – I mean, Coach, it's funny. They took the ball out of his hands a little more, and they made him more effective, it seems, on third down. But, I mean, just your assessment on him. He just looks like – he looks like the best player in the game at that position. But yet, again, postseason play is when it counts.
Yeah, and they got to get over that Kansas City hump, man. And they've gotten so close. So they beat him in the regular season and can't get him in the playoffs. But Josh is one of those guys. He is a pocket guy. He's going to beat the hell out of you. But he's a freak of nature when he starts running. He's so big and fast. There are very few of those guys that are that athletic, but they can still beat you from the pocket. And when he came out, I never even thought of him as a runner. It was all about that big, strong arm. Could we develop it? Could we strengthen it? Could we get more accurate? And he has. Joe's done a great job with him.
What about Burrow at Cincinnati, Coach? I mean, he looks like the closest thing to Brady to me.
Yeah, I'm a big Joe Burrow fan. I mean, he's athletic enough. The same thing. He's looking to push it down the field. And I don't know if there's a more accurate guy out there right now, first down through third down, than Joe Burrow.
Coach, Patrick Mahomes, what is the one thing, in your opinion, you think he still needs to improve? Because Jimmy said this. He's never seen a player in his life that's untradeable. And he said, that guy's it. He goes, I mean, if you were to put him on the open market, he's a 5 first-round type guy. He goes, he's the best player he's ever seen. Yep. Is there any part of his game, in your opinion, that he still needs to improve? Or is it more about putting the players around him to help him get where he needs to go? Because I thought they struggled in the run game, especially in the postseason. They struggled running the football. Maybe a little more help around him, but what's one area do you think that he still needs to work?
I don't know if there's an area to improve. I mean, he's the most gifted passer. Like I said, he runs a 4.8, but on the field he runs 4.5, and nobody ever catches him. And he has the grit, man. He's got the will to win. And so I'm with you. I think it's putting better pieces around him. I don't think he's been the same since Tyreek left, and they keep trying to put different pieces in that same spot. Worthy, I think, can get there, but Pat can carry that crew, man. I don't see anybody beating him again next year.
Coach, I get people telling me this, man, your Temple experience. I mean, people in Philly want to know, man. I mean, how was that experience for you when you were at Temple?
That was great 6 years, man. The guys, I bet 40 of those guys are friends with my wife on Facebook. And
wow.
At least that's the tightest group of guys I've ever seen. And they got their big tailgate coming up this week for Cherry and White Day. And as they say, the Arians and Cheney's guys, they hang out together. And so, I mean, if there's one coach I respected more than any coach other than Bear Bryant, it was John Cheney. And what he did with that basketball team, man. And I'd get up and go watch him practice at 5:30 in the morning. And so, yeah, I mean, it's a great 6 years. I mean, it was like, I was 30 years old, thought I knew everything, didn't know shit, but it was a great experience, man.
Coach, this has been a great experience too. You always find time for me, man. You are absolutely a dear friend. Thank you so much. Keep enjoying retirement. I hate you're retired because I don't know, man. I love you on the sidelines, man. But hey, Coach, great success and great love to you and your family. Thank you so much, my friend.
Appreciate it, brother.
You got it.
You.
That is Bruce Arians. Yes, sir. Man, what a great coach. I just loved watching him. And so many people, man, have great experiences with him. Andrew Luck has been texting me, and he's been tweeting me the whole time, and he's been telling me, I guess he watched the interview just now a couple minutes ago. And so that was pretty cool. So, yeah, I think the Buccaneers, man, I'll tell you what, I think the Bucs are one of those football teams that I think are going to make some noise, man. I really do. I got to tell you my Andrew Luck story. Okay, let me tell you my Andrew Luck story here. So yesterday, I didn't realize it. So I told you guys that I played in the NFL's World League. That helmet up there, right there, that one. Okay? And I played, and the NFL owned it. By the way, James Harrison played in that league. The great Steeler. Kurt Warner played in that league. So Jake Delhomme played in that league. We had a bunch of really good football players play in that league. I can't believe James Harrison, who I think is going to Canton, played also in that same league. So Oliver Luck was the general manager of the Frankfurt. I posted a picture. Was the general manager of the Frankfurt Galaxy. And there was this 4-year-old kid that they had hanging around. Oliver had him with him. This is Frankfurt, Germany. And I'm friends right now with, I've been friends with Oliver Luck. I think he was the commissioner, I think, of the XFL, if I'm not mistaken, because I had him on. And I was friends with him. And I didn't realize, I go, that's Andrew Luck? That's your kid? So I posted it on my Twitter page, Frank Reich. Frank goes, holy shit. You played against Andrew Luck's dad's team, the Frankfurt Galaxy. And I'm like, I did. He goes, do you know that kid that was running around with the football on the field in Frankfurt, Germany? Now where the NFL plays games now at the same stadium I played in Frankfurt. I said, yeah. He goes, that's Andrew Luck. I'm like, get out. He was 4 years old when I was playing football and he was on a football field. Pretty crazy. You guys want to know how I know all these people and all these psycho stories? There it is. I mean, okay. I mean, yeah, Andrew Luck was a great player. And, you know, Luck was awesome quarterback, just had horrible offensive line. Absolutely. Hey, and Dodd, he loved my little, I did a report for him last night on his roster, what I thought of his skilled people, what I thought of his O-line, what I thought of his D-line, linebackers, and his secondary. And I wrote a small report out, what I thought of them. They're limited. I don't think they've done a very good job of recruiting. But it's hard to recruit at Stanford. Remember, if Alabama or Miami, maybe not Miami because Miami's kind of hard to get into. I know. I don't know. Today it's probably harder. But if Alabama or LSU, if they recruit 20 kids, they're going to get those 20 kids into the school. Okay? They're going to get those kids in. If Stanford recruits 20 kids, they're going to get 5 of those kids in. It's a tougher recruiting process because of the admissions. Tougher admissions, Notre Dame too. Same thing. Duke. Any one of those type of schools, Cal. Places like that. When you have high admissions and tough to get kids in, it's tougher to recruit. Because those kids, they go through a different set of standards that they do. And again, I mean, you got to know what your priorities are. LSU and Alabama have priorities of sports. It generates a lot of income and revenue. And that's Stanford and Cal and Notre Dame. There's a different requirement there because they get a lot of people donating money and they have a lot of outside money coming into the program, not just through sports. So it's difficult. Okay? I mean, watch people, then understand what you hear and see before telling someone what to do. Not everyone has the same strength or stamina. That's something you must know as an NFL scout. True. Okay? True. Okay? Hey, that's really kind. All right, guys, don't forget my great friends at Morgan & Morgan. Talk to you all the time about John Morgan. By the way, Dan Morgan's coming on tomorrow. He's flying back from Maui. And I know he was up at Michigan with Tom Brady a couple weeks ago, and they were talking about the nil. And he's a great sports guy. He's a great friend of mine. He's been a friend of mine for a long time. And he's the heir apparent to John Morgan with the #1 injury law firm in America. They've become that. There's nobody bigger with over $26 billion recovered. Morgan & Morgan is there for you with their team of thousands of attorneys across the country. Told you about the story of here in Pennsylvania, nearly $30 million recovered for a family, or the Nearly $15 million recovered for a family in Florida. Team of thousands of attorneys coast to coast. They are everywhere because they're the biggest in the country. Morgan & Morgan has been here for over 25 years, making sure they service anyone who calls them if they've ever been injured. And if you have ever been injured, make sure you call my friends at Morgan & Morgan at forthepeople.com/big sales or pound law 529. Go to forthepeople.com/big sales or pound law 529 and do me a favor. You tell them Big Sales sent you.
This is Eric. When he got injured in a car accident, he called Morgan & Morgan. He not only gets a lawyer, he gets trial lawyers like Sam and Jessica who are in it to win it. He gets his own investigators with briefcases, leather ones. And if you ever have questions, our customer service folks keep things rolling. Injured? We're your army. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
Your financial future is on the line. Are you ready for what's next? At Leone & Company Wealth Management, we help young professionals, business owners, and pre-retirees navigate the complexities of building and protecting wealth. For young professionals, we'll help you grow your wealth, plan for your future, and make the most of your hard-earned dollars. For business owners, we provide strategies to protect your company, manage risks, and create a lasting legacy for both your business and personal wealth. For pre-retirees, we'll design a plan to secure your retirement, ensuring you can live comfortably and confidently in your next chapter. Whether you're just starting out, managing a thriving business, or preparing for retirement, we're here to help you take control of your financial future. The first consultation is on us. Get the advice you need without the cost. Let's make your financial vision a reality. Take the next step. Scan the QR code to schedule your free consultation today. And of course, go Birds.
Field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on three. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
In our hometown, we all look out for each other. We step up to keep our communities going strong. And at Independence Blue Cross, we're here to keep you going strong as the #1 health insurer in the region. No IBX is always looking out for you.
EAGLES, Eagles.
Big Sales National Football Show. Do me a favor, guys. Please hit the like button. Oh, by the way, let me see here. No, this. No. Where am I going here? Oh, there we go. New Jersey. Miami replaced my stolen jersey. Look at that. Look at that bad puppy there. Look at that thing. Look at that thing there. How you doing? Look at that thing, man. Original, old school University of Miami jersey. Put the O'Kane's helmet right on top of that bad puppy there. Look at that thing, man. Is that not good looking? Look at that thing. I might even have to scoot over here a little more here. How you doing? Look at that. Look at that Hurricane jersey there, man. But that dog looks good. By the way, that's a double X. I tried putting that. That thing is like, I couldn't get it over my arm. That thing looks great, though. Please do me a favor, guys. Hit the like button. I love that Shohei Ohtani was at the White House. with the Dodgers the other day. There's him and Trump, and now Dodger fans in Los Angeles are upset because the Dodgers went to the White House. You know what I would say to those people and those snowflakes? Ain't about you. I don't give a shit who's in the White House. It's about honoring a championship team. Same thing with the Philadelphia Eagles when they roll in there. I don't care about any of that. I don't care who the president of the United States is. Have you ever been to the White House? I have. Have you? When you're honored and you get a chance to go, after we won the 87 one, I went there. And it's a great honor. Give a shit who the president is. I mean, senor, right? Since when did that become a political? Oh, I know. Probably because of Trump. I don't give a shit about him when it comes to honoring my team. And that's the way the Eagles should look at it. Dude, I swear to God, the most un-American thing. I thought that was one of the coolest things. There's Shohei Ohtani, a Japanese-born superstar player who might actually be maybe the greatest baseball player of all time, is in the White House. He's standing next to the Declaration of Independence. And I'm sitting there going like this. Isn't that how more American can you be than that picture right there? Guy coming over, playing Major League Baseball, born in another country, and he's celebrating with his teammates as champions of Major League Baseball with the Dodgers. How in the world is that bad? The only people that look at that as bad are narrow-minded idiots that would look at that bad. What does Shohei Ohtani have to do with tariffs? Policy. Jalen Hurts have anything to do with policy? Nothing. I thought it was awesome. When you get a chance to go to the White House and somebody celebrates your team, I swear to God, I don't give a shit if it's Obama or Trump. It has nothing to do with those men. This is where Jeffrey Lurie's right. Okay? This is where Jeffrey Lurie's right. The owner of the Eagles. Hey, man, it's a great honor for our organization, and it's a great honor for our team to have a chance to go to the White House and have the nation honor us. How stupid are you? You see these people now ripping up Dodger jerseys in soft snowflake LA. Okay, right? And take care of your homeless before you start talking shit about the Dodger team that brought a lot of excitement to the region and the home of Jackie Robinson. Give me a break. I mean, you know what's funny? If you tune on the news, half the people that protested last weekend, where were you in November? I don't remember seeing them guys in November. That's all I'll say. Oh. US of A, baby. Hey, I really liked also, before I get into my NFL comments here, I loved Ovechkin's comments to the Tonight Show. They wanted him on the Tonight Show. You know what Alexander Ovechkin said? No, I'm in a playoff run here. You know, we're coming down to like the last couple games of the year, and I've got to be with my team. And we've got to try to do what we can when it comes to the playoffs in the NHL. That's what makes the NHL players the best. It's nothing about them. It's everything about team. The NHL player is arguably the greatest teammate of any of the North American sports of the Big Four. You think an NBA guy would think, you think LeBron thinks about his team? Or does LeBron think about Team LeBron? Alexander Ovechkin just broke one of the most hallowed records in all of sports. And you know what he was thinking about? I got a playoff run here. I got a playoff run with my team. You just broke the record of Wayne Gretzky. Yeah, well, that's more important to me. Not celebrating, again, where I am in this picture. I love that. Alex Ovechkin, tremendous. And I've gained more respect for him. You know, I would say this to you. My daughter and my wife have probably seen him 8 times play. I've seen him more than they've seen Patrick Mahomes play. Actually, I told you this before. My wife has been to more hockey games than NFL football games. That's a fact. I would say this, honest to God. I would say my wife's probably been to hockey games 40, 35, maybe more. My daughter's been to probably 20. She met Vinny LeCavier, Marty St. Louis. She met Torts. I know she met Dave Vanderchuk. Crazy. I mean, yeah, so I like that whole thing with Ovechkin. I'm like, hey, we got a playoff run here going on. Okay. Here's Snoop. Dan, do you think the Eagles will be just as successful with the quarterback sneak without the tush push? John McMullen says they were just as good before the tush push. Yeah, I do. I do not believe that will affect it in any way because they got a quarterback that knows that. Let me ask you this, Snoop. How good was Tom Brady running the tush push? Or how good was Tom Brady in the quarterback sneak? Somebody posted in here like he was 90% on that quarterback sneak. It was a huge play on 4th down conversions. He was great at it, right? He was the best. Okay. Well, what will change with Jalen? I don't think anything. Until the offensive line gets taken apart, in my opinion, I don't think that play will have any impact whatsoever. Okay? I just do not. Philadelphia. Without the tush push, that means more rushing TDs for Barkley. This O-line, too strong. Correct. Remember something, Philadelphia, when I pointed out that one of the reasons, and here, why do you think the Green Bay Packers in the 60s were so good in winning Super Bowls and winning championships? Fuzzies, Thurston, Jerry Kramer, Forrest Gregg. Look at the Steelers. Mike Webster, Steve Corson. All those great offensive linemen, plus they had Hall of Fame running backs and a Hall of Fame quarterback and 2 Hall of Fame receivers that were on that Steeler team and a Hall of Fame coach. You're not going to dismiss when you have great players like that. You're not taking that play out. Look at the 49ers. Niner all day. The 49ers were exceptional during an era of exceptional football teams. But why were they the best? Roger Craig? Get this. Do you know how many Hall of Famers are on his team that won 5 Super Bowls on offense? Can you name them? Can you name Joe Montana's huddle and how many Hall of Famers there were in that huddle with Young and Montana? Name them. Can you? There's one. Rice. There were no other Hall of Famers. Dwight Clark is not a Hall of Famer. There's one Hall of Famer. In that 5 Super Bowls, there was one Hall of Fame football player, Jerry Rice and Montana or Rice. Okay? They won it with really good ball players, exceptional coaching, and exceptional quarterbacking. That's how they won and a lights-out defense. Montana, when he won the Super Bowl, the first Super Bowl in 81 or 82, do you remember who was on that team? There wasn't one Hall of Famer on that team that they beat the Bengals in the Super Bowl for. Not one on offense. It was Montana. Freddie Solomon was a receiver. Randy Moss never played on any championship team in his career or a Hall of Fame. Randy Moss played with Montana and Rice, or Montana and Young. I don't remember that. I don't remember Randy Moss playing with Joe Montana or with Steve Young. I must have missed that one. Randy Cross, not a Hall of Famer. Dwight Clark, not a Hall of Famer. That's how good that organization was. It was great coaching and the best quarterbacks. Think about that. Look at the Hall of Famers that Jalen's playing with. Maybe AJ. Maybe Mulata. For sure, Lane. Maybe Barkley. For sure, Jason Kelsey. Taylor's not a Hall of Famer. Dog. Joe didn't play with Hall of Famers except for Jerry Rice. And in his first Super Bowl, he played with none. Rice wasn't on that team. Joe Montana didn't need Jerry Rice. Like, he would never need A.J. Brown to win a Super Bowl. That's how good that guy is. He's like Mahomes. He doesn't need, plus he doesn't need a superstar tight end. Montana was that great. Okay? He didn't need him. Even Brady had a Hall of Fame tight end. Montana had none of that. That's why when people always to this day, they ask me, they go, Seals, who's the best quarterback of all time? I'll tell you what, there's no quarterback that's ever done more in this league with less than Joe Montana. Nobody. That includes the guy in Kansas City. I mean, that guy had Travis Kelce. This guy had none of that shit. This guy had Dwight Clark and some other, what is his name? Franks. He had another tight end named Franks. Roger Craig was a good player, really great. Randy was great. Harris Barton was great. I mean, nothing did he ever play. Joe Montana playing with the type of talent that Jalen Hurts had, he'd be undefeated 4 years in a row. 4 years in a row, he'd be undefeated. If he ever played with talent like that. Joe Montana is one of the only quarterbacks in NFL history that could go anywhere and take you to a conference title game. Do you know who? Hey, Niner all day, just to show you something here. Do you know the last time the Chiefs went to an AFC championship game with Mahomes not being the quarterback? Do you know who the quarterback was? It was Montana. Montana took him to the AFC title game. Then he retired. Joe was the last dude to take a Chiefs team to a conference championship game. That's the difference with that dude. That's right. Just a great player. Tom Rathman, another great player. Dude, you know what they had, Smitty? That 49er team? They just had really great coaching. McKintrick, one of the greatest offensive line coaches of all time. Bill Walsh, in my opinion, Bill Walsh is a better play-calling head coach than Andy Reid. He's just a better play-calling coach because he did it with less. He was just better, in my opinion. Guys, I really appreciate Bruce Arians coming on the program. Man, that guy's, hey, does he look like he could still coach? He surely does. So yesterday we had the former head football coach of the Colts, Panthers, and now the current head coach of Stanford, and the former offensive coordinator of the Eagles. Today, we had a Super Bowl winning coach and Bruce Arians, who could make an argument that he potentially could go to the Hall of Fame. I'm going to have to come up with somebody big time tomorrow. How about Ed Reed? Let's see if we can get somebody on there. And you know what? Hey, I don't know why we get all these great guys on, but we surely do. We appreciate each and every single one of you. Tomorrow will be 15 days out from the start of the NFL draft. We're going to have you covered wall to wall here on JAKIB. We so appreciate it, guys. I can't thank you enough. Xander, Big Joe, thank you. My heart goes out to you, Xander, man, for your loss, man. You know how much I love puppies and all that, man. Got your back, brother. Don't forget 2 to 6 tomorrow. See you on the flip side.